There we go. We are initiating contact with the internet realm. Waiting for the AI Archon internet gatekeepers to part the waters and allow us to enter. Let's check over in Facebook land, shall we, everyone? Let's look over in Facebook land and see if we've been granted entrance into the inner sanctum of the weirdest place in the internet. I don't know. I'm sure there's way weirder places than here, but anyway, come on in. Greetings, greetings. Come on in, everyone. Totally. Let us know how you're doing. We're going to kind of circulate this. We're going to circulate a little bit of Palo Santo here as we roll in the door. Come on in. Good to see you guys. As you're rolling in the doors, you're taking your seat in the over. You guys can imagine like a sort of dirt parking lot, you know, where there's a bunch of those plastic. Yeah, it'll be like those white plastic chairs that are sort of bendy, but you can still sit on them. But if you tilt back on them, like the legs kind of bend. Some of you guys will know what I'm talking about. And it's sort of like a dirt parking lot floor, right? Imagine that. And there's like a 90s era gazebo type stage thing where everyone hangs out. That's the multidimensional trailer park. In the background, you'll see a bunch of various craft like ships and whatnot, you know, somewhat similar to some that you've seen throughout popular media and fiction. But yeah, welcome in. Come on, everyone. Full says like like an AA meeting. Watch out, you never know. We've been to a few of those in our time. Absolutely. It is a little bit complete with weird watery coffee that's almost drinkable that you can sort of kind of drink. You'll cling to it literally at time. But yeah, come on in, you guys. Greetings. We are at I think the final stages of 2022. I think the last time we appeared in here, I think it was a much more severe vibe. I can tell as soon as we open the door this time, it's way more like it's more smooth and easy. Thank you, Trevor Ohm. How's it going? Happy solstice from the start. It is. That's kind of maybe that's one of the reasons why we're here today. Although I do tend to put importance upon certain moments in the sort of, you know, astrological and worldly alignments that take place at certain times of the year. I can tell you that during this particular process, I was guided to really add or do or work with anything on a particular basis other than to allow what for me, when I look at it, feels like a cyclical rebirth. And for some people, it's, you know, and yeah, it's the death and rebirth cycle completing itself once again at many intervals during our year. We go through many stages of self, many chapters of, we could say chapters of knowing. And we're gonna leave the low light setting. I'm noticing now that I didn't really turn my other lights on, but that's probably just as good because it's gonna add to our mystery. It's going to add to the awkward mystery of today's gathering. And so come on in, you guys. Let us know if you have any questions from the start. I do have a couple points of interest to talk about today, and then I'll just say there's a lot of promotional things that we're going to be doing. But I'm going to start out by saying today we're going to be doing a giveaway. And so the giveaway is we are starting our next class very, very shortly. It is the fourth density survival skills, which is just a little, you know, story. It's just a term that I like to use because we're moving into fourth density. And these are skills that we can use to thrive and survive and to learn how to clear our energy and develop discernment and to ultimately make ourselves more psychic, which is not always the aim of everyone, but what happens when you begin to work on your non-physical anatomy, you will become more psychic, you will become more intuitive. It's not a fantasy thing or a fairy tale or a conspiracy anymore. It's a fact. It's a thing that happens when we do certain processes, and when you start to clear the body in different ways, different senses will activate over and over and over again. We just got done with which is weird. It feels like it was a beautiful process. I always get a little bit sad when they end, but we just closed out the third iteration of our chakra class that a number of us, some of us here in the chat, hello everyone, a number of us here in the chat have been hanging out over the past 6 weeks, going through an interesting journey through the chakra system, learning how to clear them, learning how to create a scalar wave tone or a frequency. And even if you don't make the tone, that's okay, because we're still able to create these frequencies with the body that when we know and we're able to understand the feelings or just the nature, even on the most basic level of our non-physical anatomy, it allows us to make great changes in just your mood, in your physical health, in your psychological health, in your ability to perceive non-physical energy, so many things. And so anyway, we're going to be giving away a spot to our next class. I thought I saw, and greetings everyone, hello, thanks for rolling in. Thank you, Miss White Swan. You guys can find us here. In the meantime, I'm actually going to show it on the screen in a moment, but for those of you that want to join us, I encourage you to do so. And you can send me a message if you want to do payments, but because it's very accessible. There's nobody that's ever going to say, you know, I was not able to take this person's classes because it was so high priced and they wouldn't work with me and they wouldn't help me. And it's like, there's a lot of people that will do that. I have found that part of my mission is to make it accessible for people. And so anyway, if you're one of those people that's been kind of following along the past few weeks, we're going to the next stage. What's up, Greg? Been detoxing a lot. You know, myself as well, prior to going to the Starseed Adventures Conference, which was amazing, by the way, a number of us also that were in the chat, a couple of us at least, Aurora was there, turned out very well. It was a really awesome trip. A very, I would call it a small and intimate gathering of very sincere and really open and just, you know, not without, I guess it is. It's like, I'm going to use a cheesy new age term, but very highly vibrational people. There was not a great wave of negativity anywhere to be found in that place. It was a natural and organic time of connection. And I got to see a number of people speak. All of them were good, quite literally everyone. I enjoyed every part of it. Other than the fact that it was freezing cold, and I have zero cold experience. I know there's some Canadians that are hanging out in the background and they're like, what? Shit, okay. You know, but it was down in the 30s there, and that's, you know, there was snow, and honestly, I realized that I definitely cannot cut it. I can definitely roll in the 122 to 140 degree weather, which does happen. I can handle that. When it goes freezing, it's like something in me shuts down, it is a little bit embarrassing. I definitely had to encounter the frozen dynamic, which I was not prepared for at all. It is a weird place. What's up, Full? Sedona is definitely weird. It's both jagged in its energy and also what? That's a very good question. It's both jagged and I would say it's welcoming yet somewhat entrapping as well. It's almost like there's an energy that seems to get stuck there and kind of inflate the ego of people that sort of claim that place. And not everyone, because we got some friends that live there that are incredible, but I would say in just the sort of general public that I would see or encounter, there is an interesting level of, and I don't know, maybe I'm misstating it, but there was kind of a spiritual entitlement maybe that I saw there, but that could be said in any place, you know what I mean? If you go hang out in, you know, Hollywood, you're going to get an even worse, more distorted version of it. And I spent years there. But in general, I actually enjoyed it. And I will say I look forward to going back when it's a lot hotter, because I can totally hang in the hot weather, man. No problem at all. Absolutely. White Swan says more Wim Hof. I was actually doing that. We went on a vortex tour, which I'm going to be real, you guys. Here we go. I'm being totally honest. We went on a vortex tour that I was that I thought was going to be horrible, that I was like, oh, there's no way this is going to work out. It's not going to, but it was awesome. And that was the stage where it started getting ultra cold. And I was Wim Hofing it up the mountain, which definitely helps. For those of you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, it is a form of hyperoxygenation breathing mostly made popular by a person known as Wim Hof, who teaches it. He uses it in a number of remarkable ways, but that style of breathing is present throughout many cultures and kind of spiritual practices. And what it essentially is, for those that don't know, it's just big, like, You're continually inflating and deflating the body in a rhythmic fashion, continually hyper-oxygenating the body. And what it does is it generates heat and warmth and chi, and it does incredible things to your body. You guys can look it up and read about it in your own time. I'm not going to go on a crazy rant about it here, but it will, in some cases, it will literally keep you alive in the freezing weather. I don't know if it will work in, what's up, Frozen North? I don't know if it would work in 40 below, but I choose to believe maybe, or, you know, maybe I imagine you're going to be way more prepared, but I honor those of you that choose to exist in the farther reaches of the country or the world in those places. Good job. That's an extreme yeah, that's an extreme journey. But anyway, what's up, Trevor? Thank you. Thank you for being yeah, you did. He was one of the winners. Boom. So we're gonna be giving away another one. And so how are we doing this giveaway? First off, please do share this video and like it if you haven't. I'm just going to make it. That's the secret requirement to entering. I won't know if you don't, so don't worry, but please do. It really helps us get the channel out there. What you're going to do is you're going to send me a message through our website, rememberyourmission.com. And so when you go to our website, you can just scroll down the page. It's an ultra simple website, you guys. Don't worry. There's very little data on there. There's just a bio and a book sections and a little bit about our classes. But you can scroll all the way down to the bottom, and whew, hopefully I just had a big screen glitch. So somebody put a bunch of random numbers in the chat if we're still going. That was weird. I'm gonna give it a second. Let me know if it's still going. I definitely lost my screen for a moment. But anyway, I just saw another comment come in, so it looks like it's okay. There we go. All right, thanks you guys. Well, that was a weird one. StreamYard kind of glitches on me every now and then. The screen will go totally black while I'm watching it. Yet the you know, on the side it gets a little weird. But anyway, thanks. Yeah, the audio glitch. Thank you. I think it was one of those weird like AI Archon wavelengths that kind of rolls through, you know, systems testing, we could say. And I don't know if it's called systems testing, but there's a dynamic that occurred, or a phenomenon that people will encounter when I believe people have been trained in psychic warfare or psychic attack. And it is a little bit like a systems testing process where they will send energy out. And it's not the thing that people will necessarily know that they're doing it, but highly kind of open consciousness, crystallized consciousness, people that are very polarized and kind of, you know, just people that are in a different layer of kind of, you know, using their energy can very, very effectively at times send out big waves of energy that what it does essentially is it will kind of hit your body and seek the low points or the weak points. And so over the past week or so, I would say, since the launch of the Corey Good video, I definitely got a lot of that activity. I'm very blessed in that it's a thing that I'm very aware of. And these are things that were very easy for me to deflect, but it is a very real thing. And I think the reason why I'm choosing to mention that is because I think it is indicative of an overall upgrade that's occurring within each of us, especially those of you guys that are here on this live. I think one of the things we'll be encountering as we move into 2023 and beyond is a much more enhanced manner in which we're sending energy, meaning when you're sending emotions, meaning even when you're watching a live stream like this, some of you guys are going to receive emotions, you're going to receive thought forms, and not all of those are necessarily going to be mine. What we're doing is we're kind of tapping into a collective pool of energies. And I think luckily when the vibration is high and the people are in a generally sound mental state, it tends to stay something that is entertaining and positive. But at other times it becomes really, really severe and difficult and weird. And what I've noticed, or what I noticed in sort of the content and the vibration of last week's show and just the whole vibration of that situation in general, I think it is literally energetically toxic. Toxic to myself, toxic to, honestly, I think anyone that watches those videos, really, anyone that chooses to engage, I think, in that energy. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because I think it's a thing that a lot of people are still going to work through. You know, they're going to choose to kind of, excuse me, they're gonna choose to kind of continue to play in that weird, you know, just, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, that weird cauldron of just weird bullshit. And some people are going to choose to remain in it, and they're going to get stuck over and over and over again. And that's kind of one of the things that I've noticed over the past week, where certain people would kind of like hit me up on Facebook, and like, in honestly very entertaining ways that's very palatable and easy for me to handle. But it's like you can see the level to which people's energy has been twisted and betrayed and just completely inflamed, and it's a crazy thing. And so I guess the reason why I'm saying that is because it's one of those things now where it's like, now that we got that episode out of the way, and and we did this little Corey Good video viewing thing that we did, and everybody processed it. Maybe that's how when you've effectively processed something, because like now I'm like, what? Huh? Which sucks to say it. Like I hate to be so hot and cold, but it's like, after dumping out all that energy, and now it's like something that I don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Definitely. I mean, it's just like, it's so dead. And you're going to watch a number of people online. Oh yeah, here we go. Aurora knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, you're going to watch people that are still very, very trapped within the sort of the mind program. I don't mean that in like in a weird way. There's a program and a vibration that people will adopt and kind of stay in. And you'll watch people as he goes through his path of self-destruction over the coming months. You'll watch people that are still really, really infected with that. They're gonna clench up even harder. It is a very, very crazy thing. And so the good news is I have no intention of addressing that further. It was a fun journey, which is weird, because when you're done, you're done. You know what I mean? You're just like, it's like, but I will say, before we move on, it is very sad to see this person, Commander Corey, continue to attack his people now. Anyone that's watching the unraveling, anyone that continues to watch the unraveling on Facebook or Twitter or elsewhere is going to be in for a crazy ride, because it's just something that you're watching fall apart in front of your very eyes. But anyway, what a tangled web we weave. What's up, Rocks Rachel? Can you feel the energy of your audience? Absolutely, definitely. You definitely will. You will be feeling it as well, Rocks Rachel. You're going to be feeling it as well. It's one of the reasons why some of us will continue to come back to certain channels. You'll be drawn back to a certain vibration that feels comfortable or safe for you, or sometimes you'll be drawn toward one that feels like a dumpster fire, and some part of your energy is like, but like, and it's like you want to look at it, but you're like, like at the same time, it's very cringe. And so, you're going to get a lot of that. I have noticed that everyone's live I do is a very, very different feeling. There's a very different vibration. I think not necessarily because I'm a professional psychic. I think anyone that sits up here and will do this over and over again, you're going to just notice the vibes and the energy and the thought forms that kind of roll through. And I would say trust that more than anything. Because anyway, going back to what I was saying, I believe that in 2023, we're going to be going through a massive upgrade or a continuing steps of a massive upgrade that's going to be helping a lot of us learn about the phenomenon of sharing energy and sharing emotions and sharing thoughts, and the way people will get entrained to a group. Sorry to bring him back in, but really obvious example would be the Corey scene. People get entrained to a vibration of a group or a movement. Other people are going to be becoming aware of that very phenomenon of entrainment, and you're going to start seeing the places in which you have been controlled, the places in which maybe you've been deceived, maybe the places in which you've been kind of, just going through the motions, and you're watching, or you're looking at it from a different perspective. And I guess we could say, from an intuitive perspective, you're going to be seeing and feeling things on a much, much deeper level. A lot of us already are. That's kind of why sometimes you're going to be watching people on Facebook or YouTube, and you'll feel sick. Because let's be real right now, okay? There's a lot of people you're going to be watching, and maybe one day I'll be one of those people. So if you're watching me and you're like, man, I feel sick listening to this guy's voice, that's usually a sign that your energy, whoever's working with you, is like, get out of here, you know. And so you're going to be noticing a lot more of that, I think, in the months to come. And so I'm saying this at the end of 2022. For those of you guys over here, we got a number of you. Notice where you are right now in terms of your intuitive and energetic sensitivity. Like right now, when you sort of catch a feeling or notice a vibration over social media, or maybe over a moment like this, you notice a difference in the internal dialogue. You would notice a difference. There goes my screen again. You notice a difference in the internal imagery. You'll notice at times when people speak, this might be one of them because I do it deliberately. You'll notice how within your mind's eye at times when people speak, sometimes you'll sort of tune out and you'll move into this internal realm of kind of images and pictures, and it'll all be related to your own world or filtered through your own internal content. But it'll be, you know, experiences that are being relayed to you, and you're going to notice that you're interacting with that on a much, much deeper level, you guys. And anyway, tell me if you already are. I see a lot of your comments. Hello, everyone. Greetings. What's up, Layla? It's wavering. It definitely is. Maybe it's me. It's, who knows? Anyway, thank you. Greg says, can we upgrade without the nausea and dizziness? I certainly hope so. I'm grateful. I haven't had too much of that, although I used to get it all the time. Lately, I will get like this aggravated kind of like on edge liver energy feeling where I'm like, you know, this sort of like rawness, which I guess that the waves of incoming energy, which are very real. We had a lot of solar activity recently. I think just in the past few days, actually. Which I will say, I was very impressed with Alexis's presentation on space weather at Starseed Ventures. It was excellent. But just based upon the solar activity lately, you're probably going to be getting a tremendous amount of something. And I think one of the ways that it works is you will get hit in the areas in which you have the most kind of energy gathered or coagulated. Maybe we could say, all right, is coagulated the proper word? Maybe it is. And so for you, maybe it'll be, you know, within the gut or the stomach, or it'll contribute to some kind of nausea or uneasiness. For me, it would be like liver and gallbladder energy, which is no joke, man. They're both awkward in their own ways. What's up, Linda Espinoza? How's it going? A lot of heartburn. That'll happen, definitely. Thank you. Thanks for rolling through. Oh, Miss White Swan's clearing the stream. Thank you. We could definitely use that. Absolutely. And so I'm just going to show you what's coming up in our strange world. Some of you guys will intentionally tune out right here. It's probably a good thing if you do, because some of you guys already know about this. We just talked about it over and over and over again, but we're going to talk about it again. And so this is also what we're giving away today. We're going to give away one spot in our 4th density survival skills, Meridian body clearing and activation workshop. I know it's a long title. I'm getting better at shortening my titles. This channel is now Remember Your Mission, wherein, you know, a couple months ago it was the School of Multidimensional Intuition. So we're slowly, you know, limiting our use of words. But anyway, coming up January 8th, 2023, we're going to be going on a very unique 6-week journey. I want to talk about what are we doing in this class, because to me it is actually very important to talk about the specificity of the energy that you're creating or experiencing or generating within a class. And the first thing I want to say is that this is not a Reiki course. This is not an acupuncture course. This is my path and the system that has been shown to me as a person that does this work on a daily basis for better or worse. When I started working with the meridians within the body, I noticed a dramatic shift in not only the effectiveness but also the impact of the energy work that I was doing with myself and also with other people. A lot of you guys have heard a dumb story that I talk about where in I think it was summer of 2015, I had crazy awakening experiences, and I woke up in the middle of the night at certain times, and there was literally these channels glowing and pulling on my body. Very overwhelmingly, might I add, similar to what we would see in this image right here. Very much so. I recall looking at my arm, and some of you guys will notice that on the screen there. And it was like I could feel and see, and it sounds crazy. I could taste, and it was like I could hear. It was like all of the sensory spectrum had been just blown open. I wish I could experience that now, knowing what it is, so I wouldn't be afraid of it. But at that time of my life, it was absolutely traumatic, and it showed me that there was these channels of energy in the body. It's not that I started to work with them immediately. I didn't. I just noticed that, oh my Lord, there is some very, very real stuff going on, and I didn't really know what they were until I would say a few months later, when I discovered through just people that I knew online this modality called Jin Shin Jitsu. And I ended up looking at a map or some literature, just kind of looking at their info, and what it showed was the meridians and this thing called, I believe in Jin Shin Jitsu, they called it the 23 energy locks or something like that. What they were sort of nodes or points of energy on the body. And it was just a thing that it was the first time that I saw it. And I was like, oh, the meridians. Oh, that's what that was. That's what I was viewing, within myself. And shortly thereafter, when I started doing this work on a professional level, all kinds of crazy stuff occurred. But I noticed when I started to feel into, on an intuitive level, these pathways. And what I would do is, I've never taken a class in anything like that. It's important to note for those of you guys that are like, I want to do this guy's class. You should know, I have no formal education in the understanding or healing of meridians within the body. It is a thing that was known to me and kind of given to me through my own path of awakening, and I think the spiritual guides that are working with me. And so, regardless of how you feel about those things, what I was given was something that worked. And I told, a lot more about that story, later on, and a lot of you guys have heard it ad nauseum now. But I noticed that when we started working with the Meridians, and when I started trying to understand and unpack in my own way what we call the psychosocial qualities of the meridians, meaning the feelings and the thought forms, the types of memories, the sorts of energies other than the physical components and the manner in which it interacts with the physical processes of healing. We look at the other elements, the multidimensional aspects of these channels, and what we discover is that it is quite literally the circuitry of the human energy body. And what I noticed was that working with meridians just adds a completely different layer of knowledge, and I would say ability to help the human body heal. And so we're not going to dwell on this website too long, but what we're going to be doing in this training program, we'll be exploring each of the 12 primary meridians: the lungs, heart, pericardium, triple heater, gallbladder, liver, spleen, stomach, bladder, kidneys, large and small intestines. Each of these pathways in the body contains its own unique frequency and emotion, and in many cases, even intuitive abilities that we've been activating along this human journey start coming into much more clear focus as we learn to clear these invisible pathways in the body. So in this course, we kind of teach you the beginning awareness of this system, and then we demonstrate methods of how to clear it within the body. Every single class that we do is an energy clearing or a meditation that we do at the end. And so yeah, it's going to be a very interesting journey. I'm not going to dwell in infomercial mode on this too long, but I would be crazy if I didn't mention it. A lot of times when I'll announce a class, this thing will happen where, sometimes it'll go quiet and nothing will take place. And sometimes somehow the moment that I announce it, people will start signing up. And I have been grateful to say that a number of people have just been kind of jumping in randomly. So I want to thank you guys that are already in there. But for those of you guys that want to join us, so you're going to go to my website, rememberyourmission.com, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there's a contact page right there, okay? And you can make it super simple, because we've done this before. For some of you guys have done the drawings with us. Just say, I want to be entered in the drawing. That's all you got to say. But when you do, be sure to leave an email. That's the thing. Be sure I could get a hold of you, because the other time we had a person that just literally sent their name somehow, and I don't know why I was not able to contact them. It happens. It happens every once in a while. But yeah, please do send me a message. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a drawing. We're going to come back here next Wednesday. I think we have a guest next Wednesday, I think. But we're going to come back next Wednesday, and I'm going to announce the winner of that. And so head over to rememberyourmission.com. Get over there and just say, I want to join your class. And you can also sign up for it as well. I know not everyone has money right now, and so we might give away another one next week as well. But yeah, check it out, everybody. Come over and check it out. We're gonna instantly switch over to another thing that is happening. We're gonna blitz you with infomercial stuff only for a few more minutes, and then we're gonna transition into a very interesting photo. But this is another thing that is happening this Saturday. This is the Patreon group, which I don't really do here. Let me go ahead and share this. Boom. So coming up Saturday, for those of you guys that have been enjoying our reading live streams, which we do, we're still going to be, I mean, we're definitely doing another multidimensional tarot live stream, but this is a thing that we have now been doing, I would say, for well over 2 years. We have been meeting monthly with a whole group of strange beings from all over the world. And this month we are meeting on December 24th, Christmas Eve here in the US. We're going to be doing maybe, so I guess it's holiday readings. Not that I'm so not a holiday person, but please do join us if you want to come in, get a reading. We're going to do an energy clearing meditation, and I'm starting to get better about announcing our Patreon stuff. It's not always a thing that I have been talking about, because it's just been this group that kind of formed, and it has just been continuing and continuing over the past 2 years, which blows my mind. If you're ever looking for a sign from spirit that says, hey, this is the thing you should be doing, they'll just keep it going. It'll just people keep showing up. And so I love you guys that keep coming to hang out with us. But this Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, it's going to be me and Honora, who a lot of you guys still haven't seen. She hasn't really done any live streams. I know she's going to in 2023. But a lot of you guys in Patreon, those of you guys that have seen us at events, I think she does. She nearly sees more people than I do. So a lot of people are very familiar with her, but not in the YouTube world. And so Honora's going to be with us as well, doing readings for everybody that shows up. Literally everybody that shows up. And so thank you for putting the link in here, Miss Wyatt Swan. Somebody was asking for the link. I think it was Janet Paul. Hello. I think this is it right here. Maybe you were looking for another one, but anyway. Oh yes, totally. There is. We're doing a discount for the Meridian class, but I always get kind of self-conscious when I kind of linger in the self promotion phase too long. There is one other thing. There's another thing that I'm going to show you. Let me know if you have any questions in the background before we move forward. I feel you. I like your style, Andromedan. I'm more to traveling, science, technology, and engineering fields. Absolutely. Just the way that you say that and type it out feels very resonant with your kind of personal vibration. So I definitely feel you. I hear you. What's up, Michelle Stone? Never give up, my friends. Hell yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. Definitely with you. Never give up. I hope she does some videos as well, Aurora Diamond Heart. We've been talking about it, and it's definitely coming. I think she seems to thrive in the background in a very cool way. Thank you, Rox Rachel. I appreciate you. I assure you, I'm way more awkward in public, or I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'm not. But anyway. We only have a little bit more infomercial stuff left, you guys, because we do have a very cool thing. I know that there are a few of you that are in the Los Angeles area. I know that there's people on the West Coast. I know that at least a few people that watch this channel are going to be aware of this thing right here, which I have to say, I've been trying. We were trying to get back into Conscious Life Expo for 2 years since we went there, so I'm honored to be included in it. But this is the next place that you're going to encounter myself and Honora live and in person. And so a lot of you guys were here when we did a live stream a couple months back, maybe a month or so ago, and I was like, let's do this manifestation process where we're going to manifest the funds and enough money to go to this event. And I've already talked about it on this live a number of times, but it definitely worked. It definitely did, and we are absolutely going to be there. And so For those of you guys that are watching on YouTube, if you end up finding me at Conscious Life Expo, I mean this very sincerely. For those of you guys that end up finding us at Conscious Life Expo this year, please come up. I'm going to give a password. I'm going to make it really cheesy and awkward. We're going to do a password phrase. And if you come up and use this password phrase with me at Conscious Life Expo, I will give you a free reading. I mean this very sincerely, or some energy work, because that's kind of literally the only thing that we do at these sort of gatherings is we will set up a table, which we're going to be doing there, and we will just see people over and over and over again. It's a thing that it's probably one of the greatest joys of my life. It's one of the things that not only does it help strengthen me in the work that I do, but it allows us to connect with people, and in some cases create massive shifts. And so anyway, these are just there's like all these mega really cool kind of spiritual celebrity people that are going to be there. Look at all these cool people. Some of them you will recognize in your own world, in your own ways. There's all these incredible people. And then check this out. This is, well, are you guys ready for our world? So you'll sort of look at all these awesome people, and then keep going, keep going, keep going. Right? Keep. Oh, whoa! There we go. Yep, we're definitely there. And so, yeah, please do join us. I'm going to be doing a 45-minute lecture on Saturday, February 11th at 2 p.m. It's totally free, and it's going to be really, really fun. There's going to be some new things in there and some old things, and a little bit of just, a little bit of a true collection of the energies that Honora and I are bringing forth to everyone, and just the work that we're doing. This is going to be a really good place to connect with us. It's such a bizarre and crazy event, you guys. I mean this sincerely. There's usually some clones, and I mean this because there's people there that I've been going for years, and you will see them. It's like, wow, you're literally not even a real person. And then there's a bunch of wild hybrid beings that walk around, and then just a lot of the strange beings from our, many soul groups kind of all, what's the word, collide at these events. And after that, we're going to be doing the Journey to Truth conference in May, which I will definitely talk more about there. We are all set up for that one. That's going to be really fun. But anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions in the background. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Let's check your comments. Greg Herrera says, "Who's a clone?" I think that there are a lot of clones there. I think that's one of the places where a number of strange beings that you won't really find in other places in society will allow themselves to be seen. Anyone that's been to Los Angeles Conscious Life Expo will know it is like, whoa, man, it's like alien central, as is the Journey to Truth conference. For those of you guys that don't know about that, absolutely, we did as well, Aurora. Luckily, we squeaked right in there. I think there's a few of those rooms left, but yeah, we will definitely be out there in Illinois in May. Yeah, what's up, Nanzi? How's it going? That is where we will be. Andromedan says, "I see old faces." Absolutely, you're going to see old ones and really, really weird ones, and whew, man, it is a crazy thing. I've seen some literal psychic vampires there. You can feel just the vampirism quality of their energy fields at times, like drawing energy toward them. It's a place that I think just going in there in general has a very strange activating kind of effect on people. It's been a crazy event, but anyway, we're very, very much looking for it. Rox Rachel says, "Clone bad?" You know what's wild? That's a very good question. Are clones bad? I don't know. That's a very, very good question. What do you guys think? Let us know in the chat. I think maybe the process of, creating humans haphazardly as products and sort of biological, like experiments. Some of us would say, maybe that's a bad or negative, or, who knows. like depending on, where you're from and your ideals, some of us would say that's a beautiful thing. I think it depends on your perspective. Um, to me, it feels like a natural thing that was and is part of the human journey. I think that for a lot of us, during what we might call the Atlantean epoch, or the era on Earth in which we were in the time frame of the realm, we could even say, of Atlantis, that I think we came to very, very similar crossroads or experiences that we have here in terms of cloning and all kinds of, biohacking and transhumanism. This is definitely a gateway that we have gone through before. And so I think it's a natural element of human consciousness, if, under the right circumstances and with, the right influences. I think we're going to come to a stage where we start creating the what is the saying, man-made horrors beyond our comprehension. Boom. We will start to create those, which I think we are definitely in that stage. Yeah, anyway, thank you. Let me know if you have any questions. We thrive on your questions here. What's up, Morgan H? That would sure depend on intention. If it is soulless, then no thanks. But there's already so many soulless beings. I mean that very sincerely. I know that's a loaded thing for people to hear. It's like, what, really? All life is sacred? Sure, absolutely. And all life, is not that everyone is alive that you see on Earth. Some of them are very much like container beings or vessels that are still alive. There's a person, there's a flesh and blood being there, but there are many, many like container beings or NPCs. I believe that, I think it was Dolores Cannon talked about the background people. I believe that's a fundamental element of a third density experience, in which our consciousness and the simulated realm in which I wouldn't even say it's simulated, it's definitely some form of highly advanced holographic kind of, realm that is created or generated through ours and others' consciousness. But it makes sense that within a sort of, we could even call it procedurally generated realm such as that there's going to be filler. There's going to be tons of filler. There's going to be all kinds of background elements. I believe that when we place our consciousness upon a person or a being that we perceive as being one of those, soulless beings or NPCs, I think that there's a weird phenomenon that can occur, almost like by observing that life or that being, that we would aid in granting it more meaning by the observation of it. And I think that when we sort of do that with people, that kind of changes the dynamic of the soulless being. Like if you recognize them, in a sense, it almost, I think, has an effect of pulling it out. Similarly to, I think, some of the animals that we will have in our lives, as you go through that relationship and that journey, you will realize that at times you're sort of training them to incarnate as humans. I think there's a similar yet very different at the same time dynamic that can occur with the NPC phenomenon, where it's almost like for some of those beings, our consciousness and our focus is the deciding factor in kind of creating a more fully formed consciousness. And I don't know, maybe some of you guys aren't really following me on that one, but once again, I don't know that I would say cloning is necessarily evil, which, maybe we could say, I don't know that it's the recommended action at this stage on Earth. Then again, some of us would do that whole, who do you think you are that you can play God, type of thing. You know what I mean? That line always shows up in the movie. That's certainly a very, wild idea. Anyway, watch as we suddenly change subject. Leyland says, I'm doing a throat chakra clearing while doing a lymph detox. Way to go. Man, this has been the season for detoxing, man. I tell you, very, very similar, Leyland. We've been doing all like heavy detoxing. Prior to going to Sedona, I did a multi-week run of fenbendazole, which is a fun parasite clearing device, and all kinds of soreness and crazy stuff. I'm grateful that it wasn't necessarily the throat, but I get a lot of throat energy because I talk to people like this very, very similarly every day. And so it's an area that I encounter, I guess, a need for a lot of clearing or just a lot of attention, or I would say care in how one communicates. I think is very, very helpful when we're going through throat clearings. It's like you will continue to adopt the most warm and appropriate tone in the manner in which you're able to communicate. But um, anyway, I hope that makes sense. What's up, Janet Paul? That's a good question. How do people become soulless? AI, or is it pure evil? Maybe it is AI at times. I think that we are definitely experiencing a great, not resurgence, maybe insurgence. Is that the right word? Or just a massive increase in the presence of the artificially intelligent signal that's alongside all of us in this world. It's definitely getting stronger, whether you love it or you hate it. I think that's also kind of one of the natural stages of human consciousness evolution, which some people are going to be like, what does that mean that you're pro AI? No, not at all. What I'm saying is I think that the creation and the exploration of the very concept of an artificially intelligent being or artificially intelligent frequency that interacts with humans, I think that just the very idea of that and the creation and the presence of it in our world was something that's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's happened before, and it's happening again. How do people become soulless, though? Let me find your question, because otherwise I'll go on a weird tangent and I will forget it. How do people become soulless? What I have observed, actually, I know that some people might not agree, but I believe that I have observed in many people on the earth plane the process of selling the soul or giving an aspect of your soul or the primary life force essence over to another power. That's, in my opinion, that's absolutely possible. Would that mean that a person becomes soulless? I don't know that it necessarily becomes soulless, but I think that there's a containment or almost like a control thing that will occur for people in this life that might appear like that. And then I think that there are other beings that's just part of their path through the incarnational cycle. Some people are going to have those journeys. Once again, I don't know that it's necessarily evil. I don't know that it's evil. Thanks. You have good questions, Janet. NPC, what does that stand for? Non-playable character. Think of it like, and there you go, Cat Spiral knows. Think of it like in a video game, how there's always, and don't worry, but I'm sure you'll have some understanding of this. How there's just beings in the background that have no, they're just filler. It's just filler that's just walking around on the street. There's no purpose. It's just a routine or a scripted experience that's playing out in an automatic form. It doesn't mean that a person's not a person. I think it means that's kind of one of the things that happens on the earth plane. And that definitely, that does not discount the all life is sacred idea. Because I believe, like if you're here on the earth plane right now, you're definitely meant to be there. Trevor Ohm gets it. So if a soulful person concentrates and focuses their energy and consciousness on a soulless person, they can, there you go. This is a much better version of what I was trying to say, Trevor. They can bring them to life or bring more soul essence into their being. I absolutely agree with that statement. Thank you. That's a very good way to say it. Rox Rachel says, have you ever read a soulless soul? Do you tell them they're soulless? Oh man, that's a very good question. I don't think so. Then again, not necessarily that I would know. I mean, really, like, just because I do psychic work every day on a professional level does not mean that we cannot be fooled. It does not mean that, something can roll through and you won't have any idea. We make just as many mistakes, if not more than anyone else. I think it's just, we'll do it in a different wavelengths, maybe, who knows. But I have definitely viewed and encountered in this world beings that I believe are soulless. I think, would a soulless being or just a container person, and sometimes that sounds a little cutthroat, the way you say it, but for lack of a better word, I don't know that those type of people would seek spiritual guidance. But I could be wrong, and I could be overly kind of examining or kind of theorizing a little bit too far into it. Let me know what you guys think. What's up, Full? It has to do with where you are on the revolutionary scale. It is very clear. Some are way more involved than others on this planet. So to judge is subjective. I feel you. Thank you. Boom. Thanks, Michelle Stone. Feeling better from being on here. Oh, that's a very good sign. Thank you for saying that. I believe that that's a good sign when you will know that a vibration is appropriate for you, because you will find that you're like, wow, this is somehow either comforting or entertaining. And then some of them will be like really bitterly and awkwardly entertaining. And it's like, oh, I don't want to watch this, but I am, and sometimes that's a thing. But yeah, no, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. What's up, Selena Inglis? So can you feel if somebody is, or someone is like an angelic soul or fairy or inner earth or so on by their energy? Yeah, absolutely. And I can definitely see the fairy energy in you and just in your thumbnail alone, and probably a lot of other things. But yes, I can feel it. And this is not me throwing it back on you. I mean this very sincerely. I promise you, so can you. A lot of us, as soon as you see a person's face, their image, you will get an is this the right word? Imaginatory? I don't know. You will get an imaginary. There you go. You will get an imaginary version of them sometimes, or you'll imagine them like a character. Or and I mean this with respect, you'll look at a person and be like, that person looks like a dog being. And I say that because I saw a person that literally looked like a dog being yesterday. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like you look at them and you're like, well, you definitely look like you're a canine being. And then you're going to see other people that are very, very mermaid-like. And I think that when you see those things, some of us would think, oh, that's far too obvious. That could not be an indicator of the type of vibration or the essence of this person's energetic makeup. But it really is. And they will show themselves to you over and over and over again. It looks like, and sorry to signal you out, Selena Inglis, I mean this with respect. You also look like you have a lot of what I would call inner earth, kind of elven type energy. Maybe I would say more dwarven energy, but that's just me grabbing onto one element. I know there's way, way, way more to you than that, but you're going to be able to look at people, and you're going to look at them and go, that person looks very much like, say, a mantis being. Other people are going to look very much like for example, other people will look very much like a blue fairy or some form of being. Aurora Diamond Heart's a good version of that. I mean that with respect, but then again, that. I've seen people that look like a pig. Yes, definitely. You will see pig type people, and it's not an insult. It's like, I can just see that there's this type of animal essence in you. Now, earlier when I was saying we're entering the stage of the human journey where you're going to notice those things energetically about people just on a greater level, on a deeper level. That's what I'm talking about. They're going to show themselves to you in these ways that are so obvious that a lot of us are going to be like, what? That can't be. That's it. Wait, what do you mean? He looks just like an elephant. And you're like, well, yeah, that's showing you some of the elements of a person's DNA, which is a thing that I do in the sessions that we do. Quite literally looking at and viewing elements of our DNA, and hopefully at times activating it, sometimes, which is a weird word, realigning elements of that. It's a thing that everybody can do. And when you start kind of interacting with it, or really, I would say, if you're looking for the gateway into being able to feel or sense those things on a greater level, everyone's heard me talk about Qigong. Absolutely. That's a thing that you can do, and it's the cheapest, freest, most effective way to generate the ability to perceive. But then how do you know what's what? How will you be able to tell what that is? How will you know when you start looking at a person and you see them and go, that person's a blue fairy being? Whoa, how will you know that that's you receiving that information versus you using your imagination and making something up? How do you know those things? The way that I have noticed the ability for that discernment to change or just increase in my life was through the study of the clearing of energetic anatomy, the chakras and the meridians, the invisible elements of your body, the invisible energies within your body. When you learn how to treat and work with those, you are able to perceive the invisible elements of other people's energies and the other things within this world. I do absolutes because I think some of you have heard me say this. Anytime you start to pull out absolutes in the spiritual realm, or anything involving, energy, like somewhere, some way, spirit will show up and they'll give you an exception. It's almost just to spite you. It's like as soon as you think it's always this way, spirit's like, oh really? They'll just come in and like mix it up, and it's a thing. But anyway, what's wild is I kind of forgot what I was going to say after that. That's probably a good thing. What's up, the Phoenix? Pig, rat, and lion. Absolute. There you go. The original human template. It's very, it's very, it is. It's very obvious at Walmart. The people of Walmart. It's a breed unto themselves. What's up, Bobby? Imagination is more than just a figment of itself. Absolutely. It is the palace of true creation, one that is available to all and everyone that is willing to kind of play and exist, and especially heal the inner child. If people out there were looking for like, well, what would be this chapter of healing that I would focus on in my life so that I could perceive or open up the internal creationary abilities of my imaginary realm that would allow me to start to perceive energy, to start to visually interact with the third eye. Because in order for you to have a lot of us have strong third eyes, but we haven't been taught that's what the third eye is, so we don't realize how it works. But in order for that to even be a first round for creation, we have to be able to kind of open up that sort of imagination filter. A lot of you guys that have been in our chakra class, every time I do a session, one of the phrases and the things we say is we are directly connecting with our childhood imagination. Every single time. The more that you allow yourself to exist in an internal world that is, and I say it just like this, it's like you're in a world of cartoon magic. You will find that place within yourself and continue to interact and heal and see what shows up. I think that's one of the ways in which you can make like the path of psychic or intuitive development a lot easier, is you start noticing how your imagination changes. And let's be real, at times your imagination will become a very ugly place. It certainly will. You can get very distorted. The mental body, oh Lord, a lot of us got all kinds of crazy stuff rolling around in there. Not that it's there all the time. But it's definitely a thing. What's up, Morgan? I had a very ill client who was an attorney, and he was absolutely, yeah, totally. There's some rodent beings. I don't know what kind I am. Maybe I have a sort of animal vibe. I wonder, yeah, do I have an animal vibe? Somebody say it in the chat. If I could choose the animal vibe, I would have, oh Lord, oh man, if I could choose the animal vibe, I would have, oh man, I guarantee you guys, somebody out there is gonna cringe. Get ready. You guys are gonna cringe. I would be a mantis being and a crow, like a crow or a raven being, mainly just because I think they're really cool and like I just love them. I love them so much. And then I would also be, this is the cheesy part, I would also be a honey badger. The honey badger, there you go. It was hard to say, the honey badger. Why? Because dude, they just keep going. They keep going and they keep going. The honey badger is just like, for those of you guys that have seen the honey badger doesn't care video, like dude, those guys, it's like they just keep going. Those are the kind of qualities that I would wish that I had as an animal being. The honey badger, the crow, and the mantis being. Oh, what's up? Somebody agrees. There you go. What's up, Ascension Diaries? Thank you for agreeing on the honey badger. There's a bunch of other honey badgers here as well. Honey badgers legit. They're legit. They just keep going. Do you know what I mean? They're They might be the smartest ones. I gotta say, that's the thing. Maybe the honey badgers aren't the smartest beings, but dude, they just, that's right. Absolutely. Let me know what kind of animal beings you guys are. I mean that sincerely, by the way. I'm curious. What sort of animal version of you are you? What do you feel when you feel into yourself? You're like, man, I wish I was this, or I feel like this, or something. Tiffany Pertel, I don't know, maybe this is me or you, but I feel the owl vibe for you. I would like to say, whoa, hold on a moment here. Stop the presses. Whew, what about Harambe? What about him? What about him? That's the real question. Never forget. That's probably meme royalty right there. Never forget Harambe. Bobby's got some frog energy. I think that's a frog emoji. Okay, cool. Oh, Cat Spiral rolling in. So this is Cat Spiral's animal DNA makeup. Dragon, tiger, and elf. Okay, cool. I'll definitely feel that vibe. That's an interesting combo. A very interesting combo. Wait, what? You saw Harambe? Where did you see Harambe? I wonder, Miss White Swan. Where did you see him? Lion and eagle. There you go. Okay, Leyland. I have never seen you officially, but I definitely feel that energy coming from you. I could definitely see the eagle vibe that you might carry. Someone that might be content to watch from afar and just sort of look from this very high vantage point. Very deeply, by the way. Peers deeply. Oh, what's up? What's up, Dana? How's it going? We got a raccoon being in the house. Okay. Feel you. Okay. We got a raccoon being. Greg Herrera says, for me, mantis. Oh, puma. You know what, Greg? Having seen you on Zoom, I can definitely feel the puma vibe in you. That is no joke. That is absolutely no joke. What's up? Okay, Dana's definitely an owl. Very good. Very good to know. Miranda Anderson, she says, what do you see in me? Oh, interesting. Thank you. Let's see. I would say that there is something that feels like a black bear. There's some form of like a black bear energy, not the really big bears, the sort of wiry and fast and inquisitive, intelligent bears. Maybe they're more mischievous as well. I would say that, Miranda Anderson, and I mean this with respect, and I will also say a bit of a reptilian being. But don't get thrown off when you hear that, okay? Because a lot of people are like, "What are you saying?" Don't get weird. I mean, it's a fact. We all have a very distinct reptilian element of self, but you'll just see it in people. In my opinion, it is a fact. A lot of us are going to carry that energy in. Absolutely. Anyway, I don't know if that fits. I would say what's most important is your understanding of what you feel like, because other people are going to be like, you look like this, you look like that, and I would say really hold on to what you feel. Rox Rachel says, as a child, I was always a Black Panther. We can definitely see it in your thumbnail now. Absolutely. We can definitely see it. Who else? Do we have any other animal beings? Do we have any other animal beings? Oh, we got a phoenix. Whoa, that's a hell of an identity there. Definitely, that's a powerful one. You're going to be forever trapped in the cycle of death and rebirth as the phoenix. It's a very particular role. One of the dimensional gateway keepers. I have heard, not that I've encountered them out there. There was a time though when there was certain animal spirits that there have been times though in which certain animal spirits that are very distinct have shown up in some of the sessions that I've done with people. There was one that has shown up, I think, multiple times, or I have visually encountered the presence of it. I want to say twice, and it's funny to be like, I want to say twice. I will say I know once for sure, but I have felt its energy. Let's be very accurate. I have felt its energy at several different intervals. some of you guys are going to be able to perceive it when I talk about it. I think it's kind of one of the beings or a type of being that will roll through for a lot of people at stages in which they're preparing to show themselves to the world on a different level. And you'll get a viewing of it if you want to just awkwardly stare at my left eye for a few moments. But what was shown to me was what I heard in my head was called the royal peacock. And so the royal peacock showed up in a session that I was doing with a person in which we were just kind of clearing their energy and going through certain processes. And this person was living in the jungle at the time, like legitimately living in the jungle, actually. And you know, within that moment, it was as if this bird, kind of this massive bird, walked through the jungle in front of me within my mind's eye. And in my head, it was like a knowing, you know, it's not like a recording or sound. It's like the royal peacock has appeared. And when I sort of looked upward within my mind, it's weird. This is one of the things I've learned when it's actually a presence. It's like there's an engagement point. You guys will see me do it a lot. It's like I look up and to the left, and it was like I went up and to the left, and boom, there it was. There's this massive, like, and some of you guys are going to see it, like a sort of metallic, somewhat translucent, pastel colored peacock bird. It was almost mechanical in appearance, almost as if it was made of many pieces or segments of feathers. And I don't mean mechanical in terms of what we would call an AI or an artificially intelligent creation. The feeling that I got from it was that it was one of the inhabitants of some form of an astral space in which there are many very, very varied forms of life that will exist. In some cases, they will be very fantastical, kind of strange, just incredible beings. And I believe this was a being that was kind of passing through. I think that it was lured or sort of attracted by the content of what we were discussing within the session at the time, which is, wow, this was a while ago, but it was a person that was preparing to launch themselves into doing spiritual work on a greater level. And the royal peacock appeared. And, you know, I don't know how long this energy stayed with that person. It's, you know, it's not that I kind of like continue to interact with and hold on to, but it was one of those things that it's like, as you're doing this type of work, you will certainly encounter very, very crystallized forms at times. By crystallized, I mean very fully formed and like palpable and like real. It's almost like they'll have a sound at times that can come with it, which is weird to think. It's like a sound that's not a sound, but you'll experience it somehow in the auditory realm. It is a very, very strange thing, but the royal peacock had appeared. And I've felt it a few times. What's up, Dennis? Sherry says, wow, my dragon looks, yeah, there you go. You know what? I think that maybe you're encountering, Sherry, a being or one of the beings that will inhabit that sort of wavelength. And it was kind of metallic looking, sort of like this translucent kind of metal that almost a little bit the type where the sun will like reflect on it and it kind of changes the color a little bit in this weird way. Some of you guys will know what I'm talking about. You'll get your own version of it. But man, that royal peacock was a trip. I pray that they come back. Every now and then you can even summon them. Not that that's always a good thing to do. I think people forget that we as humans we're in the lifetime in which the act of summoning spirits or beings or entities is far, far more powerful than any of us realize. And it doesn't mean that just by saying a being's name, because, you know, you'll hear people that it's like they won't say the name of a biblical demon because, you know, like, it's going to come after me. It's going to come out. I mean, you know, I think if you say a person's name enough in the right places, in the right ways, that, you know, so eventually somebody will go, huh? What? You know, I mean, that's a thing that will happen, but it's more about intention. I would say, in my opinion and experience, intention is the most powerful force when it comes to creating or sending or manifesting energy in whatever form. I know a number of kind of old school, you know, magical people in many different places in the world will probably agree with me, and maybe they won't. maybe they won't agree. but I think intention's the most important thing. But anyway, let's see if there's any other animals that we're connecting with. What's up, White Swan? Ostrich beings. Whoa, ostrich came in for me during some intense initiations. Nice, at the beginning of 2022. Interesting. The ostrich. Wow, I can honestly say I don't think I've ever encountered an ostrich rolling through. I definitely haven't. Thank you, Miranda Anderson. I'm glad that hopefully you agree. And don't worry if you don't. Every single intuitive in the world, you guys, we're looking through like a little keyhole into your field. You're going to always know the real truth, and your body will tell you. It's literally going to invite, you're going to get a feeling, Sometimes an intuitive will tell you things and they'll be like, you're like this, you're like that. And they'll come very adamant and emphatically, and you will, you won't feel it. And you'll be like, and it doesn't mean that because you don't feel it doesn't make it true. But most of the time when it comes to the frequency of truth, your body is going to tell you when something is right or wrong. And yes, the decoding and deprogramming and a healing, there's all kinds of stuff that we can do about making that sense work better. But I would say that's probably a thing that a lot of us are going to notice as we continue on to the next year and the next stage of the journey, is that just the way you perceive and feel truth is going to be so much, it already is a lot different. Think of yourself a year ago, December of 2021 for a moment. Everybody that's here, we got a few people. There's 69 people. Thank you everyone for hanging out. Please click the like button. If you're still here hanging out, click that like button. But really quickly, if you're still here with us, think about how different you were a year ago. Think of December 2021. What was happening? What were you doing? What was going down in your life? Think of how different it is from now. Think of what you know now that you did not know in 2021. Think of the things that how about this one? Think of the things that you thought were real and relevant, the most important thing in the world in 2021, December of 2021. It's December 21st. So we were on the solstice last year. Not that we're all going to remember this day, not that we're going to remember it, but think of the things that you now know about yourself. And, for some of us, maybe it's not going to be this huge list and you'll be like, yeah, it's different. For other people, you're going to be like, oh my God, so much has changed. For me, like, oh Lord, so much has changed. I was in a whole different place last year, different home, totally different vibration. Not that it was bad. It definitely wasn't. Definitely wasn't bad. Thank you for validating my experience. Yeah, totally. We validated your experience with Dragon Eyes. Absolutely. That's another thing you're going to see, you guys. Sometimes you're going to be looking at people in the days and weeks and years to come, and you're going to look at those people, and for a very, very split second thing, you're going to notice things like the eyes or their face, or you'll notice a different presence or kind of energy. Most often through the eyes is the most easiest way to kind of notice it. And it's not like, people are going to have that thing like on the reptilians exposed videos where their eye turns into like a reptile, eye. It's not like that's necessarily going to happen. Yeah, honestly, it can. And I think that will happen on a greater level. You'll see a lot of people's eyes change. Some of you guys that are super, super observant will notice that my eyes change a lot when we're talking. The light's really low tonight, so you might not notice it as much, but you will notice it within other people and also yourself. And at times you will kind of see a being or an energy, and that can be a very confusing one, because sometimes you're going to see something that can be frightening, or you'll get fragments of certain things. And I guess it's important to mention that, there's even going to be times when you're going to look at a person and you're going to, intend to look at their energy on a deeper level. And what I've noticed with some people is that sometimes there's even this effect that will occur where when you do that, and it's like you look deeply into their energy, it's like you'll get this split second image within your mind's eye of sometimes something crazier. I've encountered people that, one of the ways that sometimes you will know that a person has an entity, not that this is always an identifier, but I have encountered people that we've done real-time entity work with, and it's like as you're talking to them, Or I'll individualize it. As I was talking to them, what I noticed was that when I would blink my eyes or close my eyes, as soon as I would close my eyes, it was like I would close my eyes and there would be this face that as soon as I would blink would go like right, like shoot out right at me in this weird way. And sometimes it would be like a weird, ugly Joker face, or like some weird face with a bunch of teeth or some weird thing. And it's not like necessarily like it's really coming at you. It's just like this sort of phantom flickering image that you will perceive within your third eye. The reason why I'm going on and on about that is because we are entering the stage of the human journey where some of us are going to be experiencing those energies on a crazy, crazy greater level. Every now and then, that's an ability that people will start to develop that can certainly get hijacked. It certainly can. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of people on the earth plane where, you know, at times you will notice very beautiful things as well. But notice the energy from the eyes because, well, I feel like I'm going on and on now, but your ability to read energy is dramatically increasing. That's pretty uncommon, though, that you'll have that weird, you know, third eye burst. As a person that does energy clearings with people pretty much every day, it's not that common. It will happen. It'll definitely happen. I would say you might notice it when you look or meditate upon the image or the faces of certain celebrities. You might notice it with politicians. You might notice it with people in the media. Some people, if there is a legitimate entity or energy or thing that's interacting with their field, sometimes you'll barely see it. Other times it'll be very, very noticeable. But it's certainly something that you can train yourself to notice. Another thing that you can do, and this is I think maybe everyone knows about this by now, but maybe not. But one of the other ways that you can kind of exercise your third eye or the viewing kind of lenses within the energy body is, and you guys can do this with me right now if you want, but you'll sort of look at a person. And so you guys can do it with me on the screen, or you can do it with yourself, but you will sort of look at yourself in a mirror or a person on the screen. And it's like you'll move your eyes just to the side of their head. And you'll focus on the wall or the space just to the side of that person. And you gotta stay with it. Sometimes it's hard to keep your eyes focused to the side. But after a time, what you'll notice is that their face will change. Their expression will change. You'll notice different images or different beings. Sometimes you'll get different thought forms. And you can kind of do it with me right now if you choose, but try it with yourself later, like in the mirror, and you'll just take your eyes and pull them right over to the side and stay focused on the space next to that person. That is one of the ways in which you can definitely view a person's aura. At times you'll notice energies or movement or flows or wavelengths or colors, or every now and then you'll look at a person and their face will get really weird. I might be one of those because it's shadowy here, so you never know. I might start looking more reptilian. But you will notice the energies that are kind of present with a person. Every once in a while, you know, it can be definitely weird. I think that the thing that I've noticed about working with the third eye is that it's constantly dilating in a state of opening and closing, very much like your iris in your eye, and it's going to be constantly opening and closing based upon the vibrations, based upon the energy, based upon your well, we've been talking about it for weeks straight, but based upon what I call your emotional pH balance, which is the most prevalent emotional condition within the body, meaning that some people have a makeup that's fearful, some people have anger, some people have joyfulness. But anyway, it'll be the most prevalent emotional condition. And anyway, I'm going on and on. Sorry. What's up, Jill Rose? How's it going? When I meditate, I start with show me what. Yes, definitely. Very, 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 very good idea. When I meditate, I start with show me what you want me to see, and then when I see all the faces, images, etc., in my mind's eye, sometimes faces, but usually some kind of weird glyph writings. Definitely, you will see what some people call the architecture or the universal language or the sort of light code symbology that exists naturally within our realm, it is absolutely real. They're all around us every single day, constantly. And you're going to go through many states of awakening or activation where you're going to perceive it very clearly at times. Sometimes you won't. Some people never will. We've been talking about this in the chakra class, but if you're one of the people that's on here and you're like, man, I don't know, my third eye doesn't work, or I've never been able to open my third eye, I've never perceived such things. I would say the first thing to do is to really begin to experiment with your imagination and to really try to work with yourself as a version of a child. When you're doing a meditation or some form of spiritual practice, really allow yourself to engage in childlike thinking and childlike imagination. That to me would be a mindset that you can hold on to. And then if you're doing energy work on yourself, you can tone into your third eye. And I will put the very well used capsule phrase that we use. You can use this phrase. It's va me. You can tone that into your third eye, and it's very much like you're going to go and you can continue to do that. That will help bloom the third eye open. And the other thing you can do is tone into your navel chakra, which is the back door to the third eye, which for some people is going to sound weird. Like, how is your navel chakra the back door? The chakras are in pairs, and so you can tone up at your third eye, and then you can bring your focus downward to your navel chakra. And I'm going to put it in the chat right there. And you can use the tone do chiro. And it's a thing that you can either tone, but you don't have to. You can say the words inside your body. It's a vibration that you can use. We've been using those phrases, by we, I mean myself and people that I work with, for the past, I would say, 2 to 3 years now. And it does create a very noticeable effect as you continue to use it with the body. It doesn't mean that it works for everyone, but those are helpful because what those phrases do is they cause the energy centers in your body to sort of dilate or open. And when something is able to dilate or open, the energy, number one, is able to flow through it more easily, but it allows for the natural realignment of your chakra system. And it's not always about chakras. There's a lot more going on in the body, but for a lot of us, that's kind of like the primary system that we are unpacking or working with or healing, that will allow us to begin certain chapters or stages in which you're going to perceive energy differently. Think of the chakras as more karmic, as more life path related, as more chapter related, as more kind of ancestrally related. Think of the meridians more in terms of immediacy and healing and alteration, and we could say generating clarity, and also working in the same ways as the chakras, but just through a different lens or from a different perspective. And so anyway, it's fascinating, and I feel like I'm blowing everybody up with way too much info. What's up, Mountful? Thank you for being a member. Toning is amazing. Absolutely. It's the primary way in which we send energy in the sessions that we do. But I have to say, it's certainly not the only way that you have to do it. There are many, many different ways. It's really the one that works for you. This is the one that's been working for me and a lot of other people. Some people are going to have a completely different method. And I think that's one of the really cool things about doing this kind of work right now, is that there are a million different methods. And as you create your own, that's where the real power comes. And it's not even about power, but just the ability to create change within yourself and other people. It's like you will internalize something in your own way. But it's a fascinating thing. What's up, Gail Emmer? I've had issues with reptilian attachments and my eyes will look really messed up. Yeah, seem to attack my left feminine side. So my left eye will look different than my right. That's very, very real. I have a lot of left eye stuff going on as well. You guys will see it a lot in here. Depending on how the lighting is, you'll notice my left eye will get a lot bigger at many different intervals. There could be a lot of reasons for that, but it definitely happens. And if you have a lot of a certain type of ability, or if you're from certain bloodlines, if you come in under certain conditions, or if you just have, you know, a highly activated energy system. And, you know, maybe this is just a totally raw assumption, but if you're hanging out here on this channel, there's a very, very good chance that you know, you're going to have some form of a real ability, or just in a non, how about this, a non-standard interaction with the spirit realm. If you've been attracted to this place, it's you, like, please accept that. Please accept that about yourself, because there's no mistake. People are going to end up, especially in social media nowadays, you're going to end up in the places in which the vibration fits you. And so if you're here, yes, you probably are definitely experiencing those reptilian energies. I think one of the reasons why left side sometimes gets attacked more is it's more in alignment with the divine feminine elements of ourself, with the mother's ancestry. It's been a lot more, I would say, of a battleground for certain people that are going through awakening journey right now, due to what we call the J seals. Which for some people is a very wild concept, but the J seals, and a lot of you guys have already heard of this, so sorry, but for those of you that haven't, the J seals, or also known as, if you want to go on energeticsynthesis.com, look up Lisa Renee's work, she will refer to them as crucifixion implants. There's a bunch of names for them, but they're pre-installed blockages within the human energy system that have been installed along our journey of incarnational cycles over and over and over again, through the path of creating and altering humans during our, you know, our journey, you know, here on Earth. Many people believe that we were altered, our genome was altered at different intervals by what we would call extraterrestrial races or higher density beings, which I do believe to be true. And many people believe the J seals to be pre-installed blockages of energy with the body, that things like slow down the awakening process, slow down our abilities. They put a cap on the human life cycle, all sorts of things. You guys have heard me talk about this in the past, probably, if you've been hanging around here for a while. But by and large, not always, but in generality, the J seals, at least the ones that I've noticed most of us are interacting with, I'm sure there's many others, but they do tend to interact on the left side of the body. And so we will have one that sort of, at times, not everyone has the same interaction here, so don't get the idea that everyone has these. I think everyone has had a form of tampering through our incarnational cycles, but some people will have a much more applicable system that would lend to this type of blockage. But some people will have it at the top of the head. They believe there's another one that's on the left side of the pineal gland. Supposedly there's another one that will hang out somewhere around the spinal column on the left side. There will be one that kind of hangs out near the heart on the left side of the chest. There's one that will be existing along the spleen meridian, I believe, within the body. I think it's within the kind of near the psoas muscle down in your groin. And then I think you'll have one or two behind your left knee, or just within the region of the left leg. Sometimes it's not always about exactly, you know, where that is. It's more about pinpointing the vibration and starting to move it. And then other people will believe you'll have them down at the bottoms of your feet. I think that there's probably a lot more. In some cases, it's not a thing that you'll ever need to worry about. What I've observed in people, and people have many times over the past few years, people will book, they didn't necessarily book for a J seal clearing, but it's like people will come in, describe this phantom weakness or disruptions on the left side of the body. They describe in their own way, you know, through their own terminology, what will, you know, we will deem as those blockages, and then we'll start to move energy through it. What I've observed, and this is a place where I might be wrong, because I think we're all figuring it out together, but as far as I can tell, at least at this stage, my belief is that the J seals are not necessarily a thing that you would remove. Meaning that, you know, kind of like you wouldn't necessarily remove your arteries because there's blood going through them that needs to get sent to other areas. But what you might do is continue to clear or create alterations or open up certain pathways that have been systematically blocked or sealed or cut off over time. Imagine it like a vast network, and over the you know, the incarnational cycles, certain places in your body had been sealed Another way you'll hear J seals described, if you go on a kind of like a Google wormhole, if you want to, you'll hear them also described as death seals or unnatural seals. One of the more common ones is the crown of the head one, which they call the crown of thorns, which I gotta say is a real thing, because I've had energy directly removed and popped off the top of my head, as have many other people. Some people will do it in one fell swoop. Other people will notice a gradual, release of that energy. Other people will never have a thing there. Other people will have, trauma in the psoas or other areas of the body. But anyway, somebody asked about left-right side dynamics. In general, the left side, or what I've observed, okay, I try to keep it individual. What I have observed is that the left side of the body is a primarily feminine aspect. That they're in general, in just our timelines and the energy makeup, the left side tends to apply more to feminine ancestry, our feminine energy, divine feminine concept and feelings within the body, and the right side is going to be more masculine. But I do believe you, and this is a thing I have oh man, you're going to see it so much more now that we're in a wavelength on Earth of like gender swapping and changing. So you're going to notice this dynamic a lot more in the years to come. But what you're going to notice is that some people are flip-flopped in that sense. And some people, you will encounter them and quite literally you'll realize, okay, your right side is your feminine side. All right. That's one of those things that you definitely have to leave room for. Maybe we would call it energetic gender flow dynamics of the human energy system. Is that, yes, there's a big right to left side dynamic, but there's always an exception. In fact, I would say that would be the most important thing. It's always an exception. But how would you move the energy through those J seals? There's a lot of ways to do it. Nearly all of them involve generating or cultivating your chi or your life force energy within your body. And one of the ways we cultivate it is through Qigong, which everyone's heard me talk about a million times. Qigong, but also really healing the emotional energies within your body, because the types of energies that kind of coagulate within those pathways are going to be themes or energies or things in your life that you can't move past, things that you're stuck on. Thought forms or conclusions or behavioral patterns will show up within the J seals. Also at times, autoimmune disorders, when it's really metastasized in the body, you will start to treat or detox. I've noticed that, within the sessions that we do, it's very much about toning, or that for me has been the most effective way to send that energy. But I think it's important to note that, there's going to be many times when you're doing energy work or learning how to clear energy, and, you're not going to be able to create a sound. Because I have to say, if you've ever really, really been, and it's not that you haven't if you haven't had this, but sometimes you will be attacked by very legitimate energies or entities. And some of you guys have heard me talk about this in a previous stream, but I was doing a session with a person now, I think it was a couple months ago. It was a very standard encounter, very, very normal one. We're just helping and talking and working with energy, and we did this person's energy clearing. And when I literally just aimed my consciousness at this person's throat, it was as if, like, the way I imagine it was like an animal strike. And it was like this thing just went bam and stabbed me literally right in my throat. It was like a burning red hot poker, this like total dryness, a complete, like it just closed instantly. And within the session, it was like I had to pause. And it was one of those moments, you guys, everyone that does this work on a professional level is, and maybe not everyone, but I think a lot of people that do this work on a professional level, there's going to be a time when it's like you're going to kick a hornet's nest and something's going to come out and you're going to get a feeling. And it was one of those times where I was literally in the session, I turned off my mic and I was holding my throat going, trying to make I literally could not make a sound. And it was so frightening, you guys. I was praying in my mind. I was like, Jesus, please, praying to God, the Lord Jesus, help me, those type of prayers. And I was doing this literal crucifix sign on my desk. I mean, that's how much this thing shook me. And I think it's important to be real about that, because I think when we choose to interact with spirit on a real level, on a regular basis, it needs to be mentioned. There's going to be times in which you're going to encounter something, and you're going to realize, like, whoa, I'm just a person here, living in the body, doing my thing. And you realize how, while we are still the most important and powerful being within that setting, you realize that in the spirit realm, there are beings out there and energies that can quite literally shut you down. And for me, it was one of those times where I had to sit with it and pray and sit there. And I was blessed because the person I was working on was doing really well, and they didn't really have an idea. You know, they were okay. It was not a disruption because we were in a state of silence. But, whoo, Lord, man, definitely will freak you out. It'll definitely freak you out. Miss White Swan, I really sincerely appreciate you for continuing to post these links, because you're really good at pulling me back into certain messages. And so, yes, everyone, we are doing a giveaway. We're doing a giveaway. I'm going to announce the winner next Wednesday. And so what you will do is go to our website, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and just say, I want to enter the drawing for the Meridian class. It starts on January 8th. It goes for 6 weeks, and we meet at 4 p.m. Eastern here in the US. So for 6 weeks, we're going to meet on Zoom at 4 p.m. Eastern. I think the last week of our class, we have a 2-week break because I'm going to do the Conscious Life Expo event, which is interesting because we did that with the chakra class. And I actually did that a year or so ago with another class where it kind of gives us a weird gap right at the last class. And I think part of the reason for that, not only because I have an event that I'm going to do, but there's an effect that occurs with people after you've done processes or spiritual work or energy work, and a week after week, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you'll pause and you have this 2-week break, and you will notice a contrast or a change. And so, you know, for better, not that was the plan, because it wasn't the plan, but we're doing that again with the Meridian class. So there is a minor gap in there. But it's not that big of a deal. It's actually, anyway, it definitely makes it work in a weird way. Thanks, White Swan. It did. It kind of worked in its own strange way. What's up, Jill Rose? I have only felt hostile energy when entering empty rooms that I just assumed to be haunted. This was when I was an RN at a state psych hospital. Oh man, I would imagine there's a lot of wild stuff at those places. Prior to becoming a professional psychic, I did work in a number of places like that. I wouldn't call them state hospitals, but I worked at a couple of programs for a while that was from the prison system, and people as they were transitioning out of prison. Some of them were full-time programs, and you know, where they live there 24 hours a day still after you're out of prison. So it's kind of like the halfway house setting. And it was also dually diagnosed people. So there was schizoaffective people. There was all forms of disorders and manifestations. And it was people that were transitioning back into the world. And it was, you know, prior to me doing this work, but I tell you, man, you will get some crazy energies and thoughts and all kinds of feelings and kinds of psychic senses and crazy stuff when you're working in a realm like that. I would say just in regular hospitals alone, it feels like they are just, it's like a meeting, well, maybe not a meeting place, but it's a natural gathering point for, you know, people that have passed on and a whole bunch of other different types of beings. I've never had good feelings in a hospital. And, you know, that goes without saying. Lots of us have, and it's not that big of a deal. But, man, yeah, it's a crazy thing. Boom. Vanya Patterson, I'm assuming you're talking about our drawing. What do you do to enter? You just go to our website and scroll all the way down to the bottom. The URL is in the chat. You might have to look for it. I'm going to try to find it. Here it is. Vanya Patterson, you go to this website, rememberyourmission.com, and scroll all the way down to the bottom. And then just send an email. That's all you got to do. Just be sure that you leave an email where I can reach you, because that happened before where somebody didn't. And so just say, I want to be in your drawing. That's all you have to say. Please enter me in your drawing. Boom. And then Wednesday of next week, we will announce a winner. What's up, Full? No matter what, having more crystals never hurts. I'm definitely with you on that. However, I will say my sort of crystal usage phase has kind of waned a little bit. They were like a regular daily constant presence in my little session space, which is right here where we are right now. And it's interesting to note, I mean this sincerely, I have 0 crystals in this space. What I do have though is this strange wand, which people who know me, they'd be like, Matthew, I cannot imagine you using a blue and purple wand in your energy work. This is from Yolanda, those of you guys that know Yolanda. And lately, this has been the only tool that I have been using in our energy work that is physical. And if you're wondering, what do I do with it? Some of you guys that have been in the groups with me, you've heard this little bell that we use. We also use it in private sessions, but I use it to sort of hit my little chime over here. But anyway, Yvonne makes some quality orgonite pendants and various other things, and so I think this is an orgonite wand, which I was very honored to receive. And so I don't think she watches our channel, but thank you, Yvonne. Anne Marie Morale is here. What's up? She says A. Oh, is that what you think the chime is? Okay, hold on. Because I happen to know the note, okay? And so I'm gonna do it one more time, Anne Marie, and anyone else, and you can guess. Tell me what you think it is. I'm gonna give you one more guess, Anne Marie, because I know you have really, really good pitch. But we're gonna do one more. Some of you guys are gonna guess this note. Here it comes. 3, 2, 1. I hope that shows up on the audio and is not just a waste of time. Anne Marie Morales here says A. Somebody says G. I'm going to wait for another one. We have a C. Sherry says note A. Is that your guess on the note? This is actually really good. I'll tell you one thing. One of you guys got it. What do you guys got? Well, if you want to get technical, it's like you got it within a 90% range, if that's even possible. For those of you guys that you will know it's not, but you're so close, so close. Joanna LeBlanc says E. We got C. We got Trevor Ohms on the G train. Okay. We'll wait for one more. Andromedan says A. I'm going to play the tone one more time. Here it comes, everybody. 3, 2, 1. Aurora's like, get it over with. Tell us already. Tell us. Andromedan says A. Okay. Thanks for hanging out, Lakeside Laura. Have fun at the Christmas lights. Oh, Data Blazing says G. We got a C in the house. We got C's. We got Nanzi said F. Okay. All right. We're not gonna extend it any longer. The first person who said G was correct. That was Trevor Ohm. But I'm gonna be more specific. Trevor Ohm and everyone else. Hopefully you can see this. It's actually G7 sharp. What? G7 sharp. Supposedly this is the frequency of Neptune. 3383.04 hertz. The frequency of Neptune. G7 sharp. Interesting. You guys were crazy close. Sorry, Nanzi, it was G. But dude, that was really good. Just the very fact that, yeah, he got it. Dude, honestly, Trevor, I'm very impressed with your pitch calling abilities. But I know a couple other people got it too. Joe Rose got G's. Totally. You got it. It sounds sharp. No, dude, that's impressive. That's a good ability. I can tell a lot of notes having played music for years. I guess, yeah, that was the previous professional version of me, was in the music world. And I noticed that I could tell a lot of them, but it was not an ability that I cultivated. Nowadays, I don't think I can anymore. Well, I actually know I can very easily identify guitar spectrum notes like E, A, D, G, B, E, like through the lens of guitar. Very, very easy. I can just hear it and kind of tell what chords. But within other things like chimes or let's say piano or whatnot, I might not be able to grab it in the same way. Anne Marie, you were also very, very close. No, totally. You're so close. Really, really remarkably. We got some we have some very vibrationally attuned people in this group. I guess technically nobody got it exactly right, you know. I guess somehow, I don't know, maybe Trevor did. Trevor's the one savant level kind of genius in the background there. Oh yeah, there you go. I'm still developing perfect pitch. I'm starting to be able to play the piano intuitively. Totally, very much so. Trevor, that's how I was with the guitar at age 12. They gave me like a guitar, and I was like, oh, I just realized I could hear it, and I'm like, oh, this right here. And so, some of us get it with piano. Kind of wish I got it with piano, because I haven't been playing guitar that much nowadays. Since the band days kind of ended, and I entered the psychic realm, it hasn't come around. And there's a guitar sitting literally right over there. It will certainly come back. It will certainly come back. Yeah, no, good job. Good job. We have some very distinctly talented people, and I mean that sincerely. That's very, very cool that you can just hear that little chime. I would be stuck on the chimes. Honestly, you could play any chime, and I'd be like, what? Ooh, I don't know. It's like, that's a hard one for me to discern, but I would say that's a sign of a very, very refined, just auditory sensing ability. Jill Rose said, where did I get these? I believe I got this chime from a woman who was doing sound healing at an event known as Camp Disclosure, which happened, I want to say, July of last year in North Carolina. I'm trying to remember her name. Her name was Arlen Ruddy. Boom, Arlen Ruddy, who's an incredible sound healing practitioner. But she was just selling some chimes on her table, and it was one of those moments where I was just like, I realize I'm supposed to buy a chime from you. I don't know why. I just know I am. And there was one where I liked the sound of it. I didn't care what it was about. I was like, that one has the sound that I'm going to use. And boom, here we are. A year later, and August, there we go. Aurora died. Feels like a lot longer ago, doesn't it? Or to me, it does. My concept of time is very, very strange, but it feels like a long time ago now. Anyway, I've been using that thing like crazy. It's very, very helpful. What we'll do is kind of put a point of light over a person's body, and we've done this in our classes as well in the group work, and it's very, very helpful to have not necessarily, I think, technological kind of things that you will use, although technology can be very well integrated, I think, when you're doing energy work. But I've noticed that the use of sound or signals using, things like chimes or the tones that I use, for some people, they work remarkably well. I'm sure for others, maybe not so much. But I would say for the people that find this in book sessions, it's usually because they will respond to that, and they won't even know necessarily that's what we're going to do. Anne Marie says, I have perfect melody. Yeah, there you go. Totally. Some of us will have that sort of, melody memory. Others can hear the note and play it. Because I know you have certainly, and thank you, you sent me a birthday song. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lot of very naturally gifted sound practitioners. I think later on in the spiritual journey, it tends to come out, in different ways and, different forms. Like for me, I spent years as a singer of a band. That was the only thing I did. And, here I am years later, and it's like I'm still kind of doing a vocal thing, only now we're making strange sounds. Yeah, it's all created by me. Oh, Anne-Marie says, do you have a pedal board? No, I have a bunch of Rife generators over here that you will see. One of them in the background is actually on right now, playing some frequencies for one of our friends in Portugal that we're working with. playing some stuff. And in fact, we're just about to change it. In fact, you guys are helping me remember to change it. And so, yeah, we use the Rife treatments for detox for myself and also for people that we will work with. For some people, remote Rife works remarkably well. For others, not so much. I think it depends on what you're treating. It depends on where that person is. It depends on what's going on with them. There's tons of factors, but my Lord, it is just incredibly, incredibly legit. It's incredibly legit. But anyway, yeah, those are Spooky 2 Rife generators, which you guys can check it out at Spooky 2. I think it's Spooky 2 Mall. MALL, spooky2mall.com. It's a manufacturer of, I think, the most affordable Rife generators, but also one that you have to spend a tremendous amount of time studying to use or learning to use, because the fatal flaw, not that it's a fatal flaw, but there's other Rife systems that you can take with you and they're very portable. Now, Spooky does have portable elements, but to use the ones that you see here behind me, you have to have them hooked into a PC to kind of drive that, and a number of other things. There is a bit of a learning curve, but remarkably powerful. Like shockingly, you can do so much with them. Totally. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Let me know if you have any other questions. Sending energy to your hand, hopefully. Yeah, thank you. I do think it's important for people to get consent. Not that that was, that was a very appropriate version of that cat spiral. Thank you. But I do think it's very important. Like whenever we're sending energy, because like I was saying earlier, we're entering the stage of the human journey where it's like you're going to be very, very, oh my Lord, you're going to be much more aware of how you're sharing energy in 2023. You're going to be having full-on conversations with people and all kinds of thought form interaction with somebody inside your head at times, and you're going to think like, oh, that's just me in my head, and then people are going to catch the feeling that you're carrying, and sometimes it'll be good, sometimes it'll be awkward, sometimes you'll catch other people's feelings and confuse them as your own. It's just remarkable. I mean, oh Lord, we're sending and receiving at remarkable, shocking rates. And so look out for more of that. Look out for more of that. You're going to be getting all kinds of internal interaction in a really, really wild way. Joanna LeBlanc says, what was the phrase you taught us in past lives that opens up the crown chakra? Somebody might get to it before me. So I'll put it in there. This is there you go. She got it. It's Ogam Satyam Om. There you go. Miss White Swan's on top of it. It takes a while for there it goes. It took a while for my messages to show up in the chat. But that is definitely it. And that's actually a Sanskrit phrase. But it works remarkably well. And so the way that I was taught to do it was in the process of delivering Diksha, which really just means, blessing ultimately. But you will do it very much like this. It's Ogam Satyam Om. Just like that. Or you can do it really any way that you want. That was just the way that it was given to me, and that's the way that I continue to use it. But I think that's also a style that works for me, like the sort of vocal, like the incantations and the toning and that whole process. It definitely, it might work for you guys as well. You never know. Well, Lakeside Laura is back from Christmas lights. Well, I hope it went well. Hopefully it was still going on. That was a little fast. Lakeside Laura. Absolutely. Morgan says, I will challenge myself to learn my antique gift of radionic machine. Totally. I feel you on that. Radionics are a trip. Spooky has a lot of radionic stuff as well. Anyway, very, very incredibly interesting company. All kinds of wild stuff. Both potentially damaging and potentially life-saving at the same time. That's how you'll know they're actually real. Because yeah, sure, you could do some damage with it. Yes, please do. Please do. Thank you. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks, guys. So let me know if you have any other questions. We're not going to linger too long here today. We've done most of our sort of infomercial elements. I do want to remind you once again, for those of you guys that want to join us, Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing readings, myself and Honora, and also an energy clearing meditation. Lately, we've been doing them at the beginning. I don't know, we'll take a group kind of vote and maybe we'll do it at the beginning or the end, but we're going to be doing a meditation, a short one, probably a vagus nerve opener. And then we're just going to be doing readings for everybody that shows up, everybody that rolls in. And it is very much, not that I'm a super Christmassy person, although I do like Christmas. I've been kind of separate from like the social Christmas game. But I'm definitely not a Christmas hater. A lot of people have some, also some rightful ideas about the ritualistic nature of it. But, just as a fun thing, I'm still very, I'm still in favor of it. But we're going to be doing kind of holiday readings, like what sort of gifts of spirit are available? What gifts of spirit bringing into your life in the new year? And who knows, we usually change a lot of stuff, but that's the intention for now. And so you can already get the link. I know I keep posting this, but the Zoom link is already up over at the Blue Flame Collective on Patreon. It is $10 if you want to join us. And don't worry, you can cancel immediately after. Don't worry, you can just you can come for one time and pay $10, and then you could be like, that was lame. Or you'll be like, whoa, that was shockingly fun. And I actually enjoyed hanging out with all these random people. It's very much like what we do here. Except we have Honora, my wife, who's also doing a similar thing. And anyway, join us if you feel guided. We're going to be doing that on Saturday. And yeah, thank you for being here. What's up, Cameron and Mac? Oh man, I get hijacked in my dream state. That is a real thing, man. This is definitely an experience that people are having on the Earth plane. I get hijacked in my dream time, placed into clone artificial bodies and even pocket dimensions. Any suggestions on how I can take back full control, especially during sleep state? The first one is some people are going to be like, what? He says it all the time. That's a dumb answer, but it's a real answer. The first one is start doing Qigong every day. Force yourself to start doing Qigong. Doesn't matter where you learn it, find a channel on YouTube and begin to copy them. That was the thing that will literally begin strengthening your energy body, which is a thing that you're going to need to be strong in, or at least kind of, more in a state of flow so that you're more cognizantly aware and have more ability to interact when you're in those states. And sometimes you can punch out and go back into your body. Other times you will work with your crown chakra, the Ogam Satyam Om phrase that I gave you earlier in here. You can tone that, and it's very important your intention when you tone it. What you're going to be doing is you're going to try to make the opening a little smaller. And it's not going to go that much smaller. It's not a thing that you'll totally fully close. But imagine that you're trying to kind of shrink it or close an opening in your energy field that can be used to pull you out. Because one of the ways that people will be really effectively pulled out of the energy body in the dream state sometimes can be through the openings within your chakras. It can also be through standardized, just common openings in your human energy field. But the stronger your energy field is, meaning the more in tune it is and tone it is, which will be Qigong, and then the more kind of ability you have to kind of moderate the openness of your energy field, because sometimes you can really close your energy field off. If you ever had schizoaffective disorders, what do I mean by that? Symptoms of schizophrenia with mood disorders, or if you've just had any form of kind of, just mental health sort of stuff, you will probably have had a very, very open energy field at some stage. And so you will learn to gain control over it. You'll work with your crown. You'll work with the energy center at the bottoms of your feet, your Earth Star chakra. And what you'll do as you're toning into them is you'll sort of visualize yourself closing your energy field or kind of making a smaller opening so that you can't be so easily pulled out. Those things can help, but there's a lot of people that have just it is. It's like a contract at times that you'll have signed sometimes prior to coming into this life. Sometimes it can be coerced upon you. It doesn't matter how it happens, but these are things that are real, that definitely happen to a lot of people on the earth plane. And there are many cases in which there's not really anything that you can do about it. And that sounds very disempowering. It's like, what do you mean? There's nothing I can do about it? In some cases, it'll be an experience that you are meant to have, so that you can learn something about yourself, so that you will go through certain processes of realization or healing. Sometimes they're karmic. I know that probably doesn't really help anyone that's going through it, because I've been through very similar things, and there's been processes or experiences that I've had where we've had to literally burn clone bodies, like within the astral space. Both myself and Honora have gone through experiences like that, where we've had to literally burn the additional elements or aspects of our energy that were being used in an astral space to be interacted with. It's a very real thing. The ways and means that we go about separating ourselves from it, that's always the trick, because for some people it's a thing that, you know, you'll get help with from healers, and sometimes that can help break it. For other time, you know, in other cases, it's, well, I'd say most cases, it's a thing that a change or some form of a path of healing that you'll have to undergo in your life. I've seen that with a lot of people over the years. So people will come in with bizarre experiences, and they'll be desperate to stop them. They'll work with everyone in the world, and it won't actually change it. It'll get better for a little while. Sometimes a while, you know, it won't come back, but it will not always, but it tends to come back. When we encounter people that have those, that's the situation where we know, okay, well, this person has in some form of a contract to be experiencing these things. And sometimes you can renegotiate your contract. Sometimes you will begin to realize, and this is an important thing for, I think it was Cameron, right? Oh yeah, boom, here he is, for Cameron. Wow, and I forgot what I was going to say. Ooh, that's a wild one, Cameron. But as you are going through that process, you will usually come to certain turning points or sort of, crossroads within your healing journey. And, they're going to be very, very different for each individual person. But in my opinion, it's very, very good that you're doing Pengu Shenggong. Absolutely. I've been wanting to practice that as well. I've done a couple of the routines with the people in their Facebook group, but let's be real. Yesterday, a guy told me that the only way to start doing it was through him and some activation that he had to give me. And I was like, okay. Which is honestly, to me, that's a red flag. Sorry to go there. If there's a healer that says the only way you can begin a certain practice is through me and an activation that I have to give you, if someone comes to you and tells you that, well, first off, let's be real. It is possible that that's the truth. Definitely that's possible. But in my opinion and experience, we are past the stage in the earth game in which we need to adhere to that sort of archaic principle of the sort of like, I must give you this great energy so that you can be like me type of a thing. I think that we're at the stage in the human journey where everyone has access to the same energies now. Good, bad, right or wrong, evil, awesome, demonic, angelic. We all have access to the same things at this stage of the earth experience. Some people are going to be naturally tuned into others. Some people are going to be parts of lineages and bloodlines. Some people are going to be just remembering those things in this life. When a person tells me the only way through a certain modality or experience or type of energy is through me, and if you don't get it through me, you won't get the real version of it, or you get the weak version, or whatever the saying is. To me, that's a sign of some form of like inflated or distorted spiritual ego that to me worries me. Like when I hear people say that, it's like, that's the point where I'm all, really? Oh, yeah, I guess, that's totally, and it's like, I'll kind of like very, very gently slide up. But here's the thing. That's not to say that me as a person who does it professionally is also not without some form of strange ego distortion. I think that's another thing that you will also notice about people that do spiritual work or energy work, on a professional level, is that we will be subject to the same type of ego distortions. It's just they will manifest in different ways. They'll show up in just sort of different ways and means within the human journey. And so you'll see that one, the sort of gatekeeper mentality. I pray that I am able to adhere to this over the coming years, because every now and then people will change their ideas. But for the people that use the capsule phrases that I use, for the people that sort of hear me doing a style of healing, maybe on this live stream, I want you guys to know that you can do the exact same thing. You don't have to get some session with me. You don't have to get some activation from me to begin scalar toning. A lot of people are doing it in their own way, in their own pattern, in their own manner, and it's a natural path of activation. I think that some people will choose to connect with me. They'll choose to kind of do a session with me because they'll need assistance in how do I move this? What do you see? How do you work? And sometimes those sessions are literal training things where I'm like, hey, look, now you can do the same thing that I'm doing. It doesn't mean that you will. It's kind of like with, say, we were talking about playing music earlier. Anyone can play the guitar. I mean it sinceriously. Whoa, damn. I mean it sinceriously. That's a word. Anyone can learn to play music. You can practice and you can figure out some chords on a guitar. Or I see Jeremy Burr, he plays bass. Anyone can figure out a few things and learn how to play guitar or bass. Some people are going to be natural. That's going to be, you're going to hear them pick it up and you're going to be like, whoa, damn, you're just going to know that's the thing that they're supposed to do. It's a thing that is very dear and very, very, very natural to some people. Anyone can learn energy healing. Anyone can use the tones that we are sharing in this live stream. You can use Yavu Ra or Ava Me. It's odd because they're all like these 3-syllable kind of phrases, which is a beautiful thing. I pray that I will get more information about that in the future from the beings that kind of gave them to me. But it's not an intellectual property. It's important to mention. It's not an IP that I'm selling to the world. It's a language. And so how can you put a patent or a copyright on a language that exists throughout the cosmos? How can someone say to you, the only way that you're going to learn how to do a certain type of energy work is if I give it to you, as if you're the only one that holds that frequency. To me, it's a very dangerous path to go down when you're like, the only way to this is through me. I mean, we're seeing a different extension of that in the Corey Good scene, in the Corey Good dimension. It's my story and my IP, and the only it's like no one can use, the special words. Other people will do no one can do the special, energy thing that I do. There have been a lot of people that I've asked on this show over the past, this year, because I've only been doing it for, 9 months, but a lot of people know. I'll be like, a lot of people say no, or they don't respond, and that's fine, because, I've already moved past, caring about that, and the right ones show up. But there have been people that I have invited on this show to talk about the work that they do, where I'm like, hey, come on in. People that I'm friends with, where I'm like, they're cool. It's like you will converse with them before and after. And they, and I've been like, hey, come on this thing. Why don't we do it live? Let's talk about the work that you're doing. And their, reply is, I don't want people to learn my secrets. I don't want people to steal the thing that I do and think that they can do it. To me, I think if you're holding that type of a mindset and you're a spiritual practitioner, that's a I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm too basic, but to me, I'm like, whoa, I don't know, dude, what do you mean? What do you mean? You're the only one? Anytime people pull the I'm the only one type of a game, it's like, that's a dangerous thing. If you guys ever catch me doing that, somebody better call it out. If you guys ever catch me doing, all kinds of weird, parasitic profiteering on people, you have authorization to start a YouTube channel and make a 7-series video interviewing people that have been damaged by the horrible things that I've done. Just in case it ever gets to that point, I pray that there's a person like me out there that's like, hey, whoa, hold on. There's some bullshit going on here. You better. Aurora says we will call it out. You probably will. We'll make a whole channel about it. It'll be a 2-year process. Anyway, what's up, White Swan? Oh, thank you, 71. Yeah, no, I saw you kind of rolling by there. I get stuck in a brainwave, and I can't always answer questions, but I certainly see them. How long do you use castor oil packs? In my opinion, if you can leave it on your body or keep it warm for an hour period, which means you might have to reheat it at a certain stage unless you have a real good heating pad, I would say stay with it for at least 45 minutes. Make your castor oil pack, whether you're using a heating pad or a hot water bottle, or we had a clay pack that I got from, it was like Walgreens. Depending on where you live, they might have Walgreens, but it was like a clay pack, like a clay heat pack that dude, it did incredibly well. Stayed warm for like an hour straight. It was beautiful, more than an hour actually. But yeah, I would say stay in there for an hour, and just become comfortable with the fact that you're going to get really goopy with castor oil. And thank you for mentioning castor oil. I think that was 7D1. Because that's reminding me to start doing castor oil packs again. Which, if you're wondering, if you haven't heard of castor oil packs, or maybe you've heard of them and you're like, what is it? It's where you will get very high, or the highest, or just good quality food grade castor oil that is free from, I can't remember the chemical, but you can go on Amazon or something and just enter castor oil packs. Everyone hates Amazon, but they make it easy. Go on Amazon and enter castor oil packs. And you can buy a kit, and it's a bottle of castor oil and kind of like a piece of muslin fabric, or no, it's wool, a piece of wool fabric. And what you'll do is you'll get the castor oil and you roll up your little wool fabric, or you'll get a piece of it that you're going to drape here. We'll do it like I was going to drape it over my chest. So you'll get a strip of it, and you'll wad it up and make a big roll of it, and you'll just drench it in castor oil. But don't heat the castor oil. Don't heat the castor oil. What you will do is you will heat the oil when you put it on your body with the heating pad. So you'll get castor oil, and you'll get this little piece of fabric that you're going to put over your body, and you're going to get it just totally dripping and oozing with castor oil. So it's just gooped out. And what you'll do is you'll get some like plastic wrap. Well, first you'll get the castor oil and you'll place it over your body. You can lay down on your bed. Be sure to put a ton of towels underneath you, because, man, you're going to think, oh, hardly any oil got out. No, it will, and you're going to have this weird spot on your bed, and you're going to be like, wow, that's never coming out. No, it won't. Well, I mean, you can wash it. It'll kind of come out, but there will always be a spot. So if you're one of the people that cares about that, then put towels down. So put a bunch of towels down, at least, 1 or 2 towels underneath you. And make it a towel that you're okay with getting spots, because we still have castor oil spots on a couple of our towels. And so anyway, just a point of reference. And so you'll get it really gooped up with castor oil, and then you get a heating pad, like a hot water bottle, or the clay pack that I was saying. And that's the one that you heat up. Get it really hot as you can just barely stand it on your body, because the activating thing for castor oil packs is the heat. And so what you'll do is you'll take that strip of wool, and you'll put it on your body. It's all goopy, and it's going to be like all thick and sticky, and you're going to be like, what, really? Yes, really. And then you take plastic wrap, or you can use those plastic bags if you want. But what I do is I'll get plastic wrap, and then you'll sort of like wrap it over your chest. You don't have to go all the way around, but you'll put a layer. Yeah, oh, there we go. Aurora says you put a garbage bag. There you go. Definitely. And so you'll put the goopy castor oil thing, and you'll put a layer of plastic over it, and then you get your super hot heating pad and just put it right on top, and just, it's kind of like you're going to cook that oil, and don't burn yourself. So don't make it horribly hot, because it'll build up on you, but make it hot to where you're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely feeling it. And then just sit there with it and let that the heat of the heating pad just heat that oil. And what you're going to notice is, probably if it's the first time you've ever done it, you'll feel kind of uncomfortable and sticky and weird, and you'll be laying, somewhere on your bed with all these towels or a trash bag underneath you. But what'll happen, or I'll tell you what happened for me, was the first time I ever did, and still, even now, sometimes, not all the time, when you do a castor oil pack, you'll kind of go into a dreamlike state. And well, I'll just talk about it. Sorry, somebody opened the castor oil dimension, and now I'm going to talk about the experience I had with the castor oil pack. But I think the first or second time I was doing castor oil packs was in a stage where I was doing a really dedicated liver detox. I think this was in 2020. Yeah, it might have been 2019, actually. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was doing very, very dedicated liver detox. I had a lot of inflammation in my body, and I started doing the castor oil packs. And I want to say maybe first, second, third time I did it, as I was kind of like letting the heat roll into my body, I went into this dreamlike state. And I've heard other people talk about it. It's like you'll sink into your body and have this weird, bizarre, ultra vivid dream. And what I saw in that moment, which I believe was an out of body experience because it was so specific, what I saw was a woman. She was very fit. She had kind of sandy blonde hair, like a little bit dark, but kind of sandy blonde hair. She was a blonde woman, a white woman. She was, like I said, the thing that I noticed was that she was very fit. So she looked like she was doing good. And this was an after church scene. It was as if there was a bunch of people leaving a building. Some of you guys are going to get your own version of it. It felt like when I look back on it, that it was in the old days. By the old days, I want to say something like decades ago, like the world I would imagine in the 1940s or 50s. So like, much, much longer ago. And what I was able to see within this moment was this group of people that looked like they were leaving a church. And they were going through the outer corridors of this. I want to say it was like a southern church. I would imagine like a hot southern day, in the South in the US maybe. And there's all of these people leaving the church, and they're dressed nice. And there was a very kind of fit adult woman. I want to say, I would even imagine maybe kind of the age I am now, which is weird. When I think about it, I'm like, was that me on another timeline? Maybe. But I saw this, this woman. She looked like maybe she was in her late 30s to early 40s, and she had a child with her. I want to say that the child was under 12. It was like prepubescent little boy. He was kind of roundish, but he was, not fat, but like he was kind of a round little kid. He was just walking with his mom, and there was a man in the corridor of the church. And the only way I know was because everyone kept saying his name. His name was Rusty. And it's weird. I feel emotional talking about it. It's wild. So within this scene, what I saw was all these people leaving this church, and this man, Rusty, collapsed on the ground, and he was like having a heart attack or some kind of crazy seizure. And all these people were like, oh, they were gasping, and this crazy thing was happening to Rusty. And this woman came up out of nowhere. This woman with sandy blonde hair. And she was doing some kind of a healing on him. And she was like taking him through, well, what I believe now is that he died. He died there in that moment. And this woman was helping him through whatever that process was. And it's weird. I feel emotional mentioning it. It's crazy. Maybe it was me. I don't know. But it was like she was helping him go through this healing process. And what I think happened was that Ray died in that moment. And the way in which I viewed it was kind of like I was both the kid and the woman and the camera, as if there was a camera, like the sort of observational being that was outside of everything at the same time. There was all these people crowding around this guy, and I remember she opened up his shirt and was like doing some kind of CPR, and she was also moving her hands, doing like kind of like movements, like light code stuff over his body, and doing kind of just all kinds of wild stuff. That in the moment it was tragic and very sad, but very, very like, where you see this thing take place, and man, it just blew my mind to where it was so vivid. And so, I feel intuitively like, maybe Rusty died in that moment, maybe that she was meant to help him move through, but it felt like a weird honor that I got to be able to see it or view it. And, whether that was me, whether I was Rusty or I was the kid or it was the woman, It was something that kind of emanated from my body in the internal world the very first times I did this castor oil thing. And I think you will find, even if you don't have a bizarre out-of-body experience like that, I think, for people that are willing to engage in that type of a healing process, which is very visceral, I mean, it's very physical, and like there's all kinds of, feelings involved, and it's goopy and warm and hot. And it kind of forces you to go into this sort of internal state where I think at times you will view and feel internally the energies that are releasing from inside your body as you go through that. It's a very, oh Lord, it's a very, very strange thing. And so, yeah, it was such a wild experience, almost like a movie scene that I got to watch and live out while I was laying on a little weird mattress in a one-room apartment in Los Angeles, California in the afternoon one day, just with a weird hot goopy rag of oil over my body. When you say it that way, it sounds kind of weird, which it was. Totally. Anyway, do some castor oil packs, you guys. I pray that you'll have a wild experience like that. I really, really do. Soul Relay says, sounds like a cheap kid's party plastic tablecloth could do the trick. Yep, absolutely. Excellent. Excellent idea. Or you could just get a bunch of plastic bags and lay them down there underneath the towel, Then again, maybe I'm just really messy. Like, seriously, I might just be very messy. And somehow I just lose control of all that oil. But I've noticed other people are like, yeah, it is very oily. But okay, from a physical perspective, though, why would you want to be doing castor oil packs? Granted, you might have an internal healing experience, but you would be doing it to open up the fascia, to cause your body to open detox pathways in your body, to remove inflammation. It's incredibly, incredibly healing. Think of it like a substance or an energy that flows into your cells and causes everything to be more lubricated and flowing, and things that are tight and like clenched will start to like flow. And it's very, very helpful. It's incredibly helpful. It's not something that really works when you ingest it, but it works topically. Well, I think it does work when you ingest it, but just not in the way that we want it to. But it's just incredibly, incredibly helpful. So I would say try it. Selena Inglis says, I'm going to try this. I pray that you do. You can also just go on Google or search engine of your choice and just enter, how do I do castor oil packs? You'll probably get other methods. I know that what I was told, and maybe I'm holding on to a faulty idea, because sometimes people will say, I heard you should do this, but I was told by the woman that taught me about castor oil packs to not heat the oil. Put the oil on your body and then heat yourself. And so if there was one thing that I continue to hold firm to, it's that I won't heat the oil. I won't, warm it up. I'll put it on, and then the heat pack will cook it in its own way. But in a future live, let me know how you do with the castor oil packs. Cat Spiral said, I had aliens show me that points in time and space correlate to points in temporal time. They forgot the emotional investment points. Boom. Totally. A lot of the extraterrestrial consciousnesses that we will encounter are going to experience emotions much, much differently than humans. I think that's part of our greatest strength, and part of our curse as humans is that we are going to inherently be emotional beings. There's going to be lots of other creatures and beings and consciousnesses that we'll encounter who do not share and experience emotions in the same way that we do. So to me, it makes sense. Not that they don't, but as far as I can tell, I might be wrong. Somebody out there is going to know the truth. As far as I can tell, we're inherently emotional. It's part of our makeup. It's almost unavoidable. Maybe it is, who knows? But anyway, yeah. And so once again, you guys, we're going to be meeting Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern in the Blue Flame Collective Patreon group. We're going to be doing readings and a little bit of a meditation process, probably about 2 hours or so, sometimes longer, depending on who shows up. So you can find us at patreon.com/Blue Flame Collective. And then for those of you guys that have been hanging out this whole time, you already heard this, But if you haven't, we're doing a giveaway for a spot in our Meridian class that is coming up on January 8th. You're going to be joining a whole cast and crew of weirdos and strange beings that are already there, and some people from our training group. And I will also say, we're going to be giving away on Saturday. I'm not allowed. You know, Patreon's literally, for those of you guys that use Patreon, you cannot write the word giveaway in the Patreon website. If you don't believe me, if you have a Patreon account, try writing in the description of what you're doing that you're going to do a giveaway. They won't let you do it because they have weird rules around it. So we found a more applicable within the rules way to do that. And so people are going to receive a session. We're going to be doing a session. We're not giving away. People are going to receive a session with myself. They're going to receive a session you're going to receive a spot in the class. That's one of the things that we're going to be giving to someone. We're also going to be giving people a session with one of the people that we've been working with, a remarkable lady that we've been working with. So people are going to get a free session with her. And then something else that I'm forgetting. So anyway, awarded. Oh, Cricket got it. Whoa, you found the proper use of inclusive internet terminology that they will let you use. You can say awarded, absolutely. There you go, Cricket. Someone's going to be awarded. So we're going to give away some class spots and a reading or session, maybe a couple of those. Why are we doing that? It's primarily because this is kind of our Christmas. It's the only way we know how to do a holiday thing. So we're going to be awarding those things. Thank you, Cricket, for rolling through. That was a very helpful, artful use of inclusive language. Because seriously, they won't let you. They got weird rules, and we've been really good about not breaking their rules. Not that that's always the best thing to do, but dude, you know what I mean? If you want to be a part of some of those things, you can't talk about certain things. There's all kinds of weird censorship. That's just the way it is. We're really good at sliding in between the lines, and actually, we don't even deal with. The odd thing is, we don't really deal with any of the prohibited topics. If you even looked at what we do, so it's just, you know, you got to be careful how you say certain things. But yeah, we've been doing it for over 2 years, which is not that long. But if you were me, you'd be like, whoa, somehow that keeps going. That must mean it's working out. So join us on Saturday for $10. Blue Flame Collective on Patreon. Send me an email if you want to be joined in the drawing. Just for the people on YouTube, you don't worry. You don't have to join our Patreon to be in the drawing. YouTube, I'm allowed to say drawing. So we're doing the drawing on YouTube for a spot, which we're going to announce on Wednesday. So send me an email through rememberyourmission.com, a very simple thing that says I want to be entered in the drawing. And yeah, we're going to be announcing that soon. And then some of you guys are going to be finding us out there in Los Angeles. I shouldn't say this on YouTube, but we are looking for 1 or 2 volunteers to help us man our table. We need a team member to help us handle our table because there's a lot of people that come through. Anyway, Trevor says, I also think there's a big difference doing the classes in a group. Not only due to the presence of each participant, but also each participant's, yeah, totally, man, spirit, definitely. And we address them. We definitely address them. And Matthew seems to call in other spirits, maybe some angels. I can feel their presence, but I can't identify them yet. Thank you for bringing that up, Trevor. I want to be very specific about that. Because we do. When we are doing work in our groups, we talk about our guides and guardians. And I want to be very specific about that because you're going to encounter a lot of people in the spiritual milieu in our soul group that are summoning, you know, ascended masters and ETs and like, you know, various beings and, you know, Enlil or Enki or, you know, whatever, whoever the sort of flavor of the month, you know, ascended master, spiritual being, alien group is. People are going to be summoning those things and calling them by name. And that's not a thing that we ever do in our classes. We don't plug you into any specific channels or races or collectives. We plug us into our own energy, our own guides, your own source energy. I'm sorry to be emphatic about it, but you're going to find that not everyone does that. And I feel like it's very important for me to be specific and say, when I say that we're reaching out to our guides and our guardians, we're reaching out to our energy, your team, You know what I mean? Not some like collective of, galactic federation of planet beings, like not the Ashtar command. Not to say those are good, evil, right, or wrong, because you can connect to them. Go, seriously, feel free, totally can. I've just noticed that I think not that we're unique, because everyone's unique, you know what I mean? But I think one of the things that I think helps the work that we do and the processes that we go through is we don't connect intentionally to anything other than what is yours and your energy and your beings. And anyway, I'm becoming overly emphatic at the end of our live stream. But yeah, some of those are going to be angels. Some of those are going to be angels. Some of those at times are going to be ETs. Some people are going to know that ETs are also angels, and vice versa, and all those elements. And yet there is also a distinct angelic realm, which is a very, very real place, and sometimes they're going to show up. But I just think it's important to note, because intention is everything when it comes to spiritual work. Your intention and the vibration and what you are intending to bring in is the most important thing. Sometimes, even if we don't know how, even if we don't know the right way or the right means or the step 1, step 2 thing. And anyway, I'm going on and on. Thank you, Trevor. That was a good statement. That's very, very helpful. Cat Spiral says, my tribe. Yeah, totally. It changes with your work. You're going to have different ones at different stages, depending on your intentions, on what you're working through, on what you're healing. You're going to have a very, very vast revolving cast of characters that are going to be uniquely tied and sometimes bound, or they'll make a decision to connect with you and be a part of your journey. And then sometimes, I got to be real, sometimes they're not all that good, which is a thing that can happen. We can cultivate relationships with guide energies that can also at times be very severe and be very difficult, and those will also be karmic. In many cases, those will be things that we've agreed to encounter, but they're not always going to be good as well, which is awkward. But that's a real thing. It's very real. And so anyway, in our classes, we're connecting with our own source energy. And anyway, watch out. I'll go on and on about it. Careful, guys. This will turn into a 3-hour live stream. But anyway, please do join us Saturday. You can join us in our class. You can also you can also just sign up if you're one of those people. And you can book a private session with myself or Honora at rememberyourmission.com. But in the meantime, we're going to be back. You're going to see us next on this channel on Wednesday. I think Wednesday's the 28th. We might have a guest. Have to reconfirm with them before. I've learned better than to say people's names until I've been like, hey, you sure you're coming in? So anyway, we'll see what happens next Wednesday, but we will definitely be back online with some drawing winners who we are awarding a spot in the class too. So in the meantime, please do click the like button before you roll out of this room. And thank you for hanging out with us down here at the multidimensional trailer park. You will see me in about a week. And I can tell you one thing, I'm going to go over and watch the Journey to Truth show. I think it's starting in a little while, right? Yeah, it's going to start in a little bit. So we're right on time. So if you're hanging out here, join us over at Journey to Truth channel, because we're going to go watch their live next. But in the meantime, thanks for hanging out. What's up, Grumpy Cheerleader? You definitely did not miss the whole thing. But if you've been here before, you've already heard most of everything that I talk about. But anyway, we're going to be back next Wednesday. We'll see you over in Journey to Truthland. Please subscribe if you have not done so. Hit the like button, and I don't know, just stay real, you guys. Have a really good holiday wherever you are in the world, whatever you're observing. And yeah, I guess we'll see you on the next timeline, live from the multidimensional trailer park. Boom.